team and go local for your footy.
Stand by. Put the mics on now. And go.
You're listening to 1377 SEN Plus, streaming live around the globe, efl.org.au and simulcast on Radio Eastern 98.1. It's EFL Game Day here, live from Heights Reserve out in Mooroolbark, where we're bringing you the Division 1 clash between the Mooroolbark Football Club and Wantirna South, a pivotal fixture for both clubs as we edge ever so closer to the 2019 EFL Final Series in just about 5-6 weeks' time. And it'll shape both of these two teams' destiny one way or the other. And don't forget, 20 games across the Eastern Football League this afternoon as you go local for your footy. It's the EFL pre-match show. For the next hour, we'll be breaking down all of those fixtures, including the big clash out here at Heights Reserve. From 2 o'clock, we'll bring you all the action live on 1377 SEN Plus, and don't forget to stay with us all the way through till 6. Between 5 and 6, we'll bring you the post-match show with all the results and action from around the grounds this afternoon across the Eastern Football League, and also tomorrow EFL Sunday from 10 o'clock till 12. Join Brad Henderson, BWS, Gav Casey and Damo Watson, and they'll wrap up all the rounds action from this week in the Eastern Football League. Time now to introduce the panel for the pre-match show to help me break down this afternoon's game. Firstly, our number one special comments man, Brett Davidson.
How you going, Steve? Yeah, really looking forward to today's game. Unusual in a situation that we've got a very nice day out here at Mooroolbark. The ground is in sensational condition. Must admit, it's the first time I've been out here where I've actually seen the sunshine for a long, long time. So a bit of a breeze blowing. It looks like it's a 4 to 5 goal breeze down into one area. So, look, that could be a little bit difficult for scoring. But, yeah, looking forward to a game that has huge implications for both teams as far as where they end up at the end of the season.
And also joining us on the panel this afternoon, very good afternoon to the EFL Media Manager, Dan Sensick.
Yeah, good afternoon, Steve, Davo. You're right, Davo. Beautiful weather out here today, and it's the second time in 2 weeks we've been able to say that. We went out to Coldstream a couple of weeks ago, and that was the first time I'd ever been out there when the weather's been nice. So it's great to get out here up at Heights Reserve. Great community club, and huge clash this afternoon, 5th versus 9th, and these two sides actually drew last time they played. So that's an interesting point. But you look at Wantirna South, since round 3, they've only won the one game. Something's got to give. They've got to make a statement. It's got to be today. They got Luke Williams back into the side, so hopefully that makes a difference for them. Yeah, absolutely. And we talked about all season the closeness of Division 1, but also that pivotal point for Mooroolbark where the tie was sort of like the tide had turned because they started off very poorly and they've been on quite the tear in recent weeks.
Yeah, look, they've been probably close to the form side of the competition in the last 5 or 6 rounds, and we talk about the relative positions on the ladder, but that doesn't say everything because of the fact that we've got a team that's sitting on the bottom of the ladder at the moment on 4 wins and a team that's sitting 6th on the ladder with 4.5 wins. So it's that close at the moment, which is fantastic for Division 1 football. And again, today we have this situation where Mooroolbark will obviously want to get a win because that gives them another opportunity to potentially taste finals. But at the other side, you've got Wantirna South. If they win, they push up in an area where, with a couple more wins, they could also taste finals. They lose today, it then puts them in that relegation zone. So it's such a topsy-turvy situation that we've got, which is exactly what we want in Division 1.
Yeah, I mean, and it's so close. I mean, obviously with Knox and East Ringwood having wins the last couple of weeks, big wins to get them back into the finals picture as well.
Yeah, well, look, at one stage they were 6 points out of it, and then they both win on the same weekend. Both put themselves only 2 points out of it. So, yeah, the draw between these two teams, while it is still an advantage for both sides because it gives them that little point of difference, but it also has a negative effect because it can allow a team to jump over the top of them. So, while this is a big game for Wantirna South, I also look at round 16 when Wantirna South play East Ringwood as being another pivotal game in the final 4 rounds for the season.
So we're going to be joined now here by the coach of Mooroolbark, Brett Lavers, for a chat on season 2019. Brett, thanks for joining us.
Pleasure, gentlemen.
So your assessment of your season so far, a bit of a slow start at the start, then a tie and then a turnaround, and you're riding pretty well so far.
Yeah, it definitely was a challenging start. The first 6 weeks tested us on and off field, but I think with the growth of the young group and also some boys coming back from injury, our last 6 weeks have been quite solid. We've come up against some good sides, and we've dropped a couple, but I think we've improved and made some massive inroads.
We spoke to Aaron Mullett on the EFL Insight podcast a few weeks ago, and he was talking about, since that tie, that the belief in the club has sort of escalated those few weeks. Would you concur with that assessment? Or?
Definitely would concur with that. I think any football club is a much happier place to be around when you're winning. Yep. And I think it just took for probably the Wantirna South game earlier in the year to get the belief that we actually are good enough to compete at this level, and the boys just having not played together probably were a bit unsure on that, but definitely this back half of the year they've grown in that area, and they're quite confident going into most weeks.
Could it have been, Brett, at the start of the year? Obviously there's a changing coach, but also the fact that you lost a lot of players. While they're not walk-up start senior players, they're those nice depth players that you tend to have in clubs that fill those positions 22 to 30. You lost a number of those to other clubs, to your Churnside Parks and the like. And then if you get a few injuries and those boys from the 19s premiership flag from last year, or 17s, haven't quite come up yet, it's that little hiatus year. Did you find at the start of the year that was you could feel that?
It was definitely the case, especially early in pre-season over the training. Our numbers dropped off, and I think with any club, when you win a flag in your reserves, they do get poached to go here, there and everywhere. And good luck to the boys who left. I wish them all the best and still remain in contact with quite a few of them. Some went for opportunities with work or coaching, and others to play a senior brand of footy, but they did make our list a little bit light on, and it's been a bit of a challenge because those 17-year-olds, some of the top age are at Eastern, but then some of them haven't come on yet to play that senior footy. So you are correct in what you say.
But that's also exciting for the club too, because those boys that played in that flag, in that 17s flag last year, they're all Mooroolbark boys. They're not. They're here to stay. You can tell. I was around them for a little bit and listened to them, and they're real club kids. So there's that real bright future that you can see coming through, like the club had a number of years ago where they had those number of flags that they won in the under-18s, and they got the polking horns, and these boys fed through into the group. So you can see a real bright future. It's just that after losing a couple early on, there's clouds coming and you don't know what's going to happen. But as you've proved now, you're now in a situation where your destiny's in your own hands, but it's also a real opportunity to take another step today.
I would agree with everything you've said with that. With the young kids coming through, the future is super bright for us. It's also super bright for a couple of boys to hopefully get themselves drafted. I know Zach Pretty down at Eastern is probably the key player there, and he got opportunity with us last year. He got cut from Eastern, played some senior footy really well, got back in at the back end of the year down there, and this year he's definitely kicking goals. But yeah, definitely some bright kids in that future, but also with today, like future, the destiny is in our own hands. I think that if we play well today, we give ourselves the best opportunity to beat Wantirna South. And on the flip side, if we're not at our best, then anyone can beat anyone, and they'll definitely challenge us. So hopefully we bring our best for you, gentlemen, and we can get the 4 points. That'd be fantastic.
How have you found the role this year, Brett? Working with Heath Black, who was the senior coach last year, he's moved on into the footy ops role. It's a unique setup. Very rarely you get two brains in the one coach's box, if you like, to put their heads together and really have an impact on match day.
Yeah, it is a different sort of setup in regards to Heath going into the footy ops manager. So obviously he had another child with his wife, and that leaves them with 4, so they got their hands full. 2 of the older boys obviously can look after themselves, but obviously the 2 youngest ones can't. But for him helping out, especially over the pre-season, that was a really good transition. He hasn't really come down game day as much to, I suppose, let me, find things out for myself as to how it is and not be seen to be shadowing me or being like a puppet master. And that's been really refreshing. But I think I often bounce things off him during the week, and we have chats frequently. He's been lucky enough to be up in Queensland recently with Vic Metro under 16, so he's found some coaching in regards to that as well. So he still dips his toes in the water there, and a good sounding block definitely.
Jaden Bishop and Lockie Sutherland returned from long-term injuries. How have they gone this year? And Kane Noonan's another one as well, who had a bit to do with VFL club Coburg. He's played a bit this year.
Yeah, so we'll start with Bish for you. He dislocated his knee last year, so we didn't get him till probably the last 2 or 3 games of the year. He had a fantastic pre-season. Unfortunately, against Doncaster East, he did his ACL, so it's another 12 months, unfortunately, for Jaden. Lockie Sutherland's come back in. I believe he's played every game. It's probably taken a little bit of time to find his feet, and I think with an ankle injury, having broken that last pre-season, he would be the first to admit he hasn't been at the standard he would like to be. But as a coaching group, the growth throughout the season has been fantastic, but more so off-field. He's one of our leaders, along with Jaden. And as for Kane, he's our vice-captain, best and fairest winner last year. He got on a list late at Coburg last year, or early this pre-season, through the help of Aaron Mullett. Patch has been fantastic for his development, but we've only seen him 2 games this year. I suppose you've got a foot in both camps, don't you? You'd love to see him play at the higher level, but I'd love to see him out here with us as well. He definitely makes us a stronger team, that's for sure.
But you never begrudge players going up and playing at that higher level. But how do you find the impact of Kane as well, now that he has been exposed to that VFL environment? Aaron Mullett as well as a playing assistant this year. The impact he's had, he's kicked, I think, over 40 goals for the year this season, and it's just phenomenal to see what a player can do who's played at the AFL level. He comes back down and he fits in seamlessly.
Well, I suppose we'll start with Aaron for you. He's actually knows quite a few of the boys as well. They are mates outside of football.
Yep.
So the transition for him was easy in that regard. He's been super on and off the field. Yes, he's kicked some goals for us, but leadership and direction behind the scenes has been pivotal to our resurgence. In regards to, the other name...
Mullett?
No, I think it was just Mullett, wasn't it?
Yeah, so with Aaron, it's been fantastic. Sorry, with Kane coming back, his voice and direction has probably improved a hell of a lot. He's definitely a lot smarter with the way he uses his football and probably his running patterns, which is what we've found. And definitely the boys look up to him now, probably more so than what they have in the past. So that's been fantastic. He's here today. Unfortunately, he's playing tomorrow with Coburg, but he'll look after our mids today and give some direction at the breaks.
All right, Brett, thanks for joining us here on EFL Pre-Match, and best of luck to you boys this afternoon.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. All the best.
No worries. That's Brett Lavers, coach of the Mooroolbark Footy Club, and best of luck to his team this afternoon. We'll take a short break here on 1377 SEN Plus, and we'll be back with more of EFL Pre-Game right after this.
SEN Footy streaming live.
You're clear 4 minutes.
Fisher and Paykel French door fridges on special at ENS.
Sounded good to me.
$95 with free delivery and setup. This weekend only at ENS.
No, he was fine. I heard every word. So.
On the all-new SEN app.
Hello, I'm Peter Hitchener.
Yes, you just got to do that. People aren't used to doing this sort of stuff, so...
Tony Jones with the latest sport.
No worries.
Weather forecast. 9 News, proud supporter of the Eastern Football League. After a new Honda and looking for the number one deal, then come to the number one selling dealer, Astoria Honda Brighton on the Nepean Highway. Hi, Gordon Rose for the Astoria team, and we have big stocks of Honda cars looking to find a new home. What about yours? The Astoria Honda name has been around for over 50 years, stood the test of time, and we want to be your number one choice when buying a new Honda or quality pre-owned vehicle. We need good trade-ins. Astoria Honda Brighton, Melbourne's home of Honda. Who says bigger isn't better? LMCT 10901.
You've all been to funerals of family members or friends, right? Do you start thinking about what you would want at your funeral? It's a bit like when you go to a wedding.
Yeah, that's right.
At what stage do you start planning?
Have an open and honest conversation with your loved ones. Celebrate your life the way you want, like I did with a fixed price funeral plan from Tobin Brothers Funerals. The price doesn't change and your life will be celebrated your way. Find out more at tobinbrothers.com.au. Tobin Brothers Funerals, celebrating lives.
The senior coach has taken the team to Eastland for a post-game feed. If only they had this kind of teamwork on the field. They've just ordered starters to share, plus frothies for the whole table. And now Steve-O's chucked a prawn to Macca. He circled back. Yes! Straight into his pie hole. Yo, beauty! Good form, boys. For all of life and footy's little moments, there's Eastland, proud sponsors of the EFL. Eastland, live real.
ROBOT, Robot Building Supplies.
One could argue that a head coach will never be replaced by a robot. Then again,
Do something, don't think, do.
Robot Building Supplies has everything. Steel, sleepers, wire mesh.
Robots got it.
Roofing and timber.
Robots got it.
Be the winning team on site. For your building supplies, order at robotbuildingsupplies.com.au or call 1300-GO-ROBOT. You'll speak with a real human.
ROBOT, Robot Building Supplies.
You can't get a Rolex for $100, and there's no way you'd get a brand new Ferrari for a couple of grand. We all know you get what you pay for. The same is true with pressure cleaners. Cheap foreign imports lack reliable muscle, but Spitwater pressure cleaners are strong, powerful, and built to last. So avoid the fakes and get a pressure cleaner that's Aussie made for tough Aussie conditions. Get a Spitwater. Call 1300-SPITWATER or see spitwater.com.au. Spitwater. That's what it does.
Hello, Frank Walker from National Tiles. National Tiles now supply and install all their timber, hybrid and laminate flooring. Yes, National Tiles do it all for you. Measure, quote, supply and install all National Tiles timber, laminate and hybrid flooring. From just $1,300 fully installed for an average 26 square metre laminate living room floor, fully supplied and installed. Only at National Tiles.
Coach Chris Scott made the case why the Cats should play a home final down the highway.
Geelong played 2 home games at the MCG because the AFL forced us to. Our fixture request is crystal clear. We would like 11 home games at GMHBA Stadium. That is our home venue.
Join me again Monday from 9.
Powered by a 100% Australian electricity and gas retailer. That's Red Energy. Switch today. Exceptional opportunities across the BMW X range at Doncaster BMW.
SEN Footy streaming live and exclusively on the all-new SEN app.
Let's head back and go local for your footy.
Okay, here we go, guys. Put your mic back on. And go.
You're listening to 1377 SEN Plus. It's EFL game day here from Heights Reserve out in Mooroolbark. We're bringing you the Division 1 clash between Mooroolbark and Wantirna South. Join us from 2 o'clock as we'll bring you that game live, and from 5 o'clock we'll bring you the Eastern Football League post-game show, where we'll bring you all the action from around the Eastern Football League. Actually 18 games across the Eastern Football League as we go local for your footy. 2 divisions featuring split rounds this weekend, that being Premier Division and Division 2. And just shortly we'll have Wantirna South coach Steve Cochran join us here on the pre-match show. But before we do that, let's start breaking down the action from around the Eastern Football League, beginning with Premier Division. Just the 3 games this weekend in the Premier Division as the split round takes place. Blackburn taking on Doncaster.
Yeah, well, we keep talking about Doncaster and whether we get to see the real Doncaster at all during the season. We really haven't seen them apart from maybe 1 or 2 games. Blackburn, again, they need to win, they need to play well. They've been doing that fairly well recently. I think they're going to be too strong for Doncaster at home.
Yeah, I agree with you, Davo. Blackburn, they came off the ultimate test in Premier Division last week, went down by 20 points to Vermont, and in the end, if you saw the scoreline, probably should have gone down by more. Vermont kicking 13-21, but look, Blackburn will want to bounce back from that, and it's a perfect opportunity to do so today.
Moving on now, Rowville and Norwood. Norwood getting over South Croydon last weekend, and Rowville were pretty average against Baldwin, you would think, last week.
Yeah, a bit disappointed with the way Rowville played. I just didn't think they had too much system. They were beaten at the contest. The ruckman, Monkhorst absolutely destroyed him in the ruck, and I would expect that John Brown will have had a fairly tough session on the track this week. They come up against a Norwood side that, they need to keep winning to continue to push the pressure on South Croydon in that 5th spot. It is at Rowville. It's a tough place to win football, and it's a windy day, which makes it even harder to win out there. I'm going for Roval. I'm not got a huge amount of confidence, but I'm going for them because I think they'll bounce back after last week's performance.
Yeah, it shapes as a really intriguing clash, this one. As we know, Norwood well and truly in that finals conversation in Premier Division, fighting it out with, I guess, South Croydon and Noble Park for that 5th spot, and it's a huge clash for them. But Rowville needing to bounce back. We saw them last week, disappointing in patches. When they put it together, they looked good, but it's a case of for often enough. I think Rowville out at Seabeck will get this one done.
And our final game this weekend in Premier Division being Noble Park and Vermont. Noble Park getting over North Ringwood quite comfortably last weekend, and Vermont obviously doing the job on Blackburn.
Well, Noble have been really good, and again, they're still in that final 5 conversation, which is really important for them. This is a tough ask, though, because Vermont actually like playing out at Noble Park as well, and they've beaten all comers. You look at their side this week, and again, it's chock full of talent, and any team that can have Honeychurch and Schneider starting on the interchange, and we know they'll run through the midfield, but you put Honeychurch and Schneider in most teams, and I reckon they might start on the ground. So they're certainly very, very strong, and I think they'll be too strong today for Noble Park.
Agree with you, Davo. Fun fact for you as well, Vermont is actually Noble Park's most played opponent in the EFL. So fun fact by Noel McPhee in the stats bench this week, so make sure you have a read of that. But interesting challenge for Noble Park, as we mentioned before, fighting it out for that 5th spot. But Vermont, you just can't go past them at the moment, clearly the benchmark.
And we'll just leave that there as we're joined by the coach of the Wantirna South Football Club, Steve Cochran. Steve, thanks again for joining us on EFL pre-match.
Yeah, good to be here, boys.
Big game for you guys this afternoon. How are the boys travelling, and your thoughts?
Look, obviously it's a lot better day than it has been the last week in particular. So no, we're looking forward to today. It is a big game. Division 1 is very, very tight. So each week's like a final, and we're ready for the challenge.
Yeah, speaking of that, I mean, we've got 5 games to go now before the finals. I mean, you've got yourselves, East Ringwood and Knox, and who are sort of down the bottom of the table, but not by no means out of the finals race. Been a bit of a rough second half of the season. What are you sort of trying to focus on week to week? As you said, it's a finals week every week, basically.
Yeah, look, we're just trying to focus on the 4-quarter effort. We've been in most games, but then just patches or quarters have let us down, and today's no different. So just focusing on a 4-quarter effort.
And I noticed that Luke Williams was named. Is he going to play today?
Nah, unfortunately not.
That's a shame, because you want to see the best footballers in the competition out and playing football as often as you can, and I'm sure while you can't talk about one player, he's an exceptional footballer and an exceptional leader, and to not have had him on the ground for a substantial amount of weeks has certainly hurt you, but gives another opportunity for others, doesn't it, Steve? So that's something that you've had to work through for the last number of weeks. So another week, you've got to work through it.
Yeah, look, Willow's, he's a terrific player, Any side, regardless, would love Willow in their side, and we're no different. But it does give opportunity for others. But sort of get a bit sick of that. So I'd love him to sort of come back. So, we need as much talent in our side as possible, to be honest. Particularly on the run home. There's, like you said, there's sort of 5 sides in the finals mix and 5 sides in the relegation mix. So, winning a game today is like winning 2 games. So, really important day for us, and we'd love Willow out here, but he's not. But we've got a competitive side out here, and I think the side that can adapt to the conditions the quickest and utilise the wind and play the game against the wind will be the side that's going to take this game out.
And especially on a day like today with this ground, because of the ground size, a lot of people think you've got lots of space, but it is also a ground that if you structure up well, you can actually stop the space from occurring. You've got to work really hard to create space here.
Yep.
And with the breeze the way it is at the moment, it really is a game where your players have got to be disciplined defensively all day, I would imagine. And that's something that you probably would have had to have spoke to your players for your pre-match.
Yeah, that's right. So we've talked a lot about it. Each week, structuring up a certain way, and today, we want to play a certain way, but then we've got to play to the conditions and to the ground size. So, hopefully that we can execute. today.
Tell us about Tyson Henry, who's making his debut today. What sort of player is he, and what sort of hard yards has he had to go through to get this opportunity?
He's a junior. He's come through our junior system. He's quite a skillful left footer. Been looking for an opportunity for some time, and the opportunity came out today. So look, with first game you hope they come out and BAG, but hopefully we find a player there, and he's really looking forward to his chance. But he's a bit of a runner, so hopefully that suits this ground size suits him as well.
And some of the kids in the 19s in the mix at the moment, who will we sort of be keeping your eye on the next year or two to come through the seniors ranks?
A young guy, Lockie Noy. Really good player.
Yeah, really good, isn't he?
So, another guy, Chris Williams. He's a good little player, a solid player. There's a number of guys who sort of pushing their way up, but I think it all starts with a bit of attitude and wanting to train a little bit earlier than they did this year, and that's the sort of culture we're going to try and bring into the club.
All right, Steve, we'll let you go. Best of luck to you boys this afternoon. Thanks for joining us here on EFL Pre-Match.
Thank you. Cheers.
No worries. That's Steve Cochran, coach of the Wantirna South Football Club, joining us here on pre-game. As we'll get set for pre-game action here between Wantirna South and Mooroolbark, and we'll just bring you some. Sorry, I'm getting a bit mixed up. We'll take a short break here on EFL. Actually, we'll go to Division 1. So sorry, a bit of indecision here in the comm box. Going on to Division 1 now, we're looking at the first game, Lilydale and Upper Ferntree Gully.
Yeah, this is a huge game for both sides. Upper Gully have been pushing the last couple of weeks. Have had some good wins. Have looked really positive. Lilydale, good win last week, but they've been a bit all over the place. We keep saying that at Lilydale they're going to be really hard to beat, and that is true. I just fancy that Upper Gully might get over the line today. I'm really liking the way they're going about their footy the last 6 or 7 weeks, so I'm going for Upper Gully.
Yeah, it is a bit of a danger game today for the Falcons. They've dropped right off, haven't they, Lilydale? Over the last probably month and a half. A bit was made of that 5-game losing streak that they snapped, and then they got back on the winners list, and then they went down the next week. But they simply need to start getting the momentum rolling this close to the finals. They are 2 games clear in 4th position, but with Mooroolbark hot on their heels at the moment and playing good footy, it's a bit of an unknown quantity. But I'm actually going to go Upper Ferntree Gully in this one. I think they're right for the picking today, Lilydale.
So. Our next game, obviously, Doncaster East and Bayswater. Donny East getting over Park Orchards and defeated Mooroolbark back in round 12 just a couple of weeks ago. Bayswater getting over Croydon last week and been the silent achiever, you would think, of Division 1, I think was a term which was probably most appropriate for their season in 2019.
We've wrapped them up on AFL Insight a fair bit lately, I think, Bayswater. So they may have been flying under the radar a bit.
Now they're not. They're on the radar.
We exposed them for the achievers that they are this year. But clearly this is match of the round in Division 1. No doubt about it. And I've got to stick to my guns here. I gave Basie a chance on AFL Insight during the week as my roughie, and I'm going to stick with that.
Yeah, I'm going for Basie as well. And the reason being that Doncaster East have been solid right the way through, but they haven't come out and they haven't been the dynamic side that I thought they were going to be. I think they've gone through a little bit of a flat patch recently, but they're still winning.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that's positive. They're playing at home, which really adds to it, but I reckon Bayswater are ready to take the chance, and after their great win last week, would not surprise me if they got up today, and I'm going to go for a roughie and choose them.
And moving on to Knox and Park Orchards. Knox with a couple of key victories over Bayswater and East Ringwood the last couple of weeks. And Park Orchards, they went down last week to Donny East, and the week before to Croydon, and the week before that to Lilydale. So bit of a tumultuous sort of season for Park Orchards this year.
Yeah, I think Park Orchards would be glad that they got through. They got through that 3-week period where they played top 3 sides.
Yeah.
They've lost them. They've got a better run home, I suppose.
Yeah.
But that dents your confidence when you lose like that. And today, they're coming up against a side who's had 2 really confident wins.
Yep.
And again, they're in that situation where they know that if they win this game, Knox, it gives them a little bit of breathing space around that relegation scenario. Whereas Park Orchards, it's at Knox. Look, I'm going to go Park Orchards because I think they probably will get over the line, but it's going to go right down to the wire, this one.
Yeah, I'm tipping a close one as well. I'm going to go for Knox in this one. It's an amazing turn of events, isn't it, when you consider probably a fortnight ago they're on the bottom of the ladder, but still in that finals conversation. And that's why, I suppose that's why the EFL restructure was brought in, or one of the reasons anyway, to have such even competitions like this. And it's just crazy to think that a club could find themselves in that situation. But yeah, Knox, that'll have taken a lot of confidence out of the last 2 weeks, and I think they'll be up for this one.
All right, we'll take a short break here on EFL pre-match, and we'll bring you the rest of the 18 fixtures around the Eastern Football League as you go local for your footy here on SEN 1377. We'll be back right after this.
SEN Footy streaming live and exclusive.
You're clear. 4 minutes.
Cricket World Cup Finals.
Victory for England, they are world champions.
The State of Origin decider.
He scores a try. They have stolen New South Wales in one of the most remarkable finishes.
And every big footy moment.
Elliott gathers against the boundary, open the goal front up and snapped it through.
You'll hear it live on SEN and the SEN app. For race gutters, Australian made, built to last. And On Deck small business loans. Approved in hours. OnDeck.com.au.
Hello, I'm Peter Hitchener. 9 News invites you to join our team nightly at 6 for Melbourne's #1 news. Tony Jones with the latest sport, including the footy, plus Lavinia Nixon's weather forecast. 9 News, proud supporter of the Eastern Football League.
Only 19 shots from 53 inside 50s, down on clearances and can't lay a tackle. What was the seniors coach going to do? Jono surprised himself and everyone else. The spray he gave the boys at halftime worked. Well, he did finish it by saying he'd shout him a post-game feed and frothies at Eastland if they won. For all of life and footy's little moments, there's Eastland, proud sponsors of the EFL. Eastland, live real.
You can't get a Rolex for $100, and there's no way you'd get a brand new Ferrari for a couple of grand. We all know you get what you pay for. The same is true with pressure cleaners. Cheap foreign imports lack reliable muscle, but Spitwater pressure cleaners are strong, powerful, and built to last. So avoid the fakes and get a pressure cleaner that's Aussie made for tough Aussie conditions. Get a Spitwater. Call 1300 Spitwater or see spitwater.com.au. Spitwater. That's what it does.
Hello. The biggest selling tile in Australia is 600 by 300 gloss white. And National Tiles is by far the biggest seller of these tiles in Australia. Why? It's simple. The average selling price is over $20 per metre, and National Tiles price is just $9.95 every day of the year. That's just one example of National Tiles' absolutely unbeatable everyday low prices on wall and floor tiles. So rush into National Tiles now and save.
Stock up on soup, pull out your woolly footy scarf, and suspend your gym membership. Now you're all set to survive the chilly season. It's time to get the whole house prepped by hooking up your cooking, hot water and heat with natural gas. Getting gas in every room is easy, and with our rebates it's often free. So grab your hot chockey, settle into your cosy cocoon and love winter. Search Australian gas networks to find out how much you could save.
ROBOT, Robot Building Supplies.
Sometimes in footy, going through the motions, players can feel like a robot.
And what's wrong with that?
Nothing. Sorry, robot.
I can kick goals from 50 on my opposite leg.
No, you can't. But Robot Building Supplies can save us time and money. Steel sheeting and stumps.
Robots got it.
Wire mesh.
1 minute.
Hill, Sunshine, Preston, Dramana, Pakenham, Coldstream and Darnham. RobotBuildingSupplies.com.au.
Robot Building Supplies.
All-day socks by Underworks are the best socks you'll ever wear. They're seriously comfy and designed to stay up all day without digging in or leaving ugly red marks. Pick up a pair of all-day socks by Underworks. They're so comfy, you'll chuck all your other socks out. Available at all leading retailers.
Hi, Craig Lowndes here. It doesn't matter whether I'm belting around a racetrack at 300 clicks or driving quietly down to the local shops with a family. There's always a lot riding on my tyres. And while I don't choose the tyres for my race car, I do choose Tyre Power to look after the tyres on my family car. Tyre Power give me absolute peace of mind with
15
brands to choose from and the very best service. Yet more reasons why I get the power at Tyre Power. Seriously? Why would you buy your tyres anywhere else?
SEN Footy.
Okay, here we go.
SEN app.
Let's head back and go local.
Putting your mics on. Go.
And you're listening to 1377 SEN Plus, streaming live around the globe, efl.org.au and simulcast on Radio Eastern 98.1. It's EFL game day here from Heights Reserve out in Mooroolbark, where the Division 1 clash between Wantirna South and Mooroolbark. Pivotal clash between both teams as we just spoke to both of the coaches. And don't forget, join us from 2 o'clock. We'll bring you all the live action between Wantirna South and Mooroolbark. And from 5 o'clock, we'll bring you the Eastern Football League post-game show as we break down all the scores and results from around the Eastern Football League between 5 and 6 right here on 1377 SEM Plus. And tomorrow, 10 o'clock on this same channel, same station I should say, you'll join BWS, Brad Henderson, Gav Casey and Damien Watson for EFL Sunday. We'll bring you all the wrap-up from around the Eastern Football League round 14, just 5 weeks to go until we get into the finals. And what a run home to the finals we have across all 5 divisions in the Eastern Football League. Now, we left off at Knox versus Park Orchards, just the one other game other than, of course, the radio game for this afternoon, that being Croydon and East Ringwood.
Yeah, look, I think Croydon have shown us right through the season that they are a side that's going to be worthy finalists, and they're going to really give it a bit of a shake. And I think at Croydon they'll be too strong for an East Ringwood team that needs to come good and play another good game of football, but I don't think they'll be good enough to get over Croydon today.
Yeah, East Ringwood looking to move themselves off the bottom of the ladder, of course, 2 points behind Wantirna South at the moment, with a superior percentage as well. But I think Croydon, they're just in too great a form at the moment to drop this one. I think they'll get it done.
So we move on to Division 2, the split round in effect. Obviously, Boronia and Mitcham played last week, with Boronia getting over Mitcham. Heathmont knocked off Ringwood in the Parker Cup. And as far as I'm concerned, Scoresby in the Basin, well, is it too late for the Basin now, considering their last run of form? And Scoresby have been pretty competitive the last few weeks, despite being on the losing end of some of those results.
Look, I think this is a huge danger game for the Basin. And in fact, I'm going to choose Scoresby at home. It's a windy day. It's always a windy day out at Scoresby, but they play their ground really well. They'll have a bit of confidence, and they'll see that today is an opportunity for them to get another scalp and put more pressure on the fact that they could still avoid relegation, because they still get to play Mulgrave, I think, in one of the later rounds. So I'm tipping Scoresby today. The Basin, they just haven't been able to stand up when they've needed to stand up. And today, I think they might struggle a bit, and I'm just going for Scoresby.
It's too late for the Basin to make a charge for the finals. They're 4 games out now with a handful of rounds remaining, and Heathmont, I suppose, were in that boat last week, but they pulled a rabbit out of the hat, didn't they? So you just never know what can happen. Scoresby, an unknown quantity, nothing to lose. They pulled off a good upset against Heathmont a couple of weeks ago. We saw a lot was made of that with their first victory of the season. Danger game for the Basin today. I'm gonna stick with the Bears, but only just.
And I should mention big news out of Heathmont this weekend is the Pavilion is finally going. I think it was, 41 years old, 1976? Yep. So big news out there, and hopefully that'll be ready in time for season 2020. And just the other game in Division 2 this afternoon, Mulgrave, who've, despite sort of like Scoresby, had been very competitive the last few weeks, taking on Templestowe, who just got over Heathmont the previous round back in on the 6th of July.
Yeah, look, this is a danger game for Templestowe, because they certainly need to win it to continue to be in that final mix. And if Mulgrave get over the top, then that probably does close the score on the door on Scoresby with relegation. So it's a huge game. Mulgrave always hard to beat out there, but Templestowe look like they've got 3 or 4 good players who have come back into their side this week, so I think they might get over the line.
Yeah, Mulgrave have been competitive more often than not, and I think they'll give the Dockers a fair run for their money today, but Templestowe, I think, too much class across the park.
So that does it for Division 2. Moving on to Division 3, just the 5 games remaining until the finals commence on the 24th of August. Glen Waverley and Donvale facing off this afternoon.
Yeah, well, we keep talking about how disappointing Glen Waverley have been, and last week, again, they were very disappointing against a strong South Belgrave at South Belgrave. Donvale, a big win last week against Whitehorse Pioneers, which was a bit of a surprise. At Glen Waverley, certainly that's something that they're going to be stronger at their home ground. But I think Dombasle they've still got a sniff at finals, even though it's pretty tough. I think they'll win reasonably well today.
Yeah, Magpies too strong for me.
And next game in Division 3, Warrandyte won 2 of their last 6. Last win was over Churnside Park back in round 12. And South Belgrave, well, do we see anyone stopping them in Division 3?
Well, I don't see Warrandyte stopping them. Warrandyte have been a bit all over the place recently and a little bit hard to predict. We think that they're going to be good at home and then they get beaten at home. So I think South Belgrave will be far too strong.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of confidence in Warrandyte at the moment. Saw them play probably 2-3 weeks ago now against the Waverley Blues. It took them over 3.5 quarters to kick a goal. They didn't kick a goal against Ferntree Gully last week, and this is a side that's currently sitting 4th on the ladder as well. It just defies belief. I think this one will be a steamroll, South Belgrave.
And moving on to Ferntree Gully and Churnside Park. Ferntree Gully won 3 of their last 5, got over Warrandyte last week. Last lost to the Gav Casey's Waverley Blues a couple of weeks ago. But Churnside Park, I mean, since the first half of the season, they were being demolished basically every week, had a little bit of an emergency meeting. Despite still losing, they've been a lot more competitive in recent weeks.
And that's been the sign, is that they've certainly been more competitive. They're getting some score on the board. Defensively, they're still struggling. Ferntree Gully, we talk about this division, and I suppose if you took South Belgrave out of the contest, the division would be incredibly tight. Because Ferntree Gully haven't been absolutely sensational. On the day we watched them against South Belgrave, they'd only kicked a goal to three-quarter time against South Belgrave, and they were sitting second on the ladder. So I think they're going to be too strong for Churnside Park, and they need to have another really strong win to get themselves into form coming into finals.
Yeah, percentage booster coming up for the Gully today.
And our final game in Division 3, the form team, I would argue, in Division 3, of course, other than South Belgrave, the Waverley Blues. They'll host the Whitehorse Pioneers. And how are we seeing this one?
Oh, I think this is going to be the best. This is the game of the round in this division. I think both teams are really hunting that position in the finals. Whitehorse were really disappointing last week, which was unusual because they've been pretty decent. They had a decent run there for a while. Waverley Blues have been really good form. Like the way they play their footy, like their run and carry. They've got a solid side in with a lot of young kids. I think they're going to be too strong at Waverley today.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting clash. 3rd versus 5th. We spoke to Jake Twycross, the vice-captain of the Waverley Blues, on our award-winning podcast, EFL Insight, proudly brought to you by 1116 SEN, Melbourne's home of sport. And he was very confident about this week. And it seems like morale's huge down at the Waverley Blues at the moment, that they're all gelling together very nicely. They're a good mates club as well. They're good friends with each other off the field too, which makes a huge difference. I think the Waverley Blues today. And
that award-winning podcast had some award-winning jousting between one BWS and one Gav Casey this week. I thought D. Sensic had to step in there in the middle. I
think I refereed it pretty well.
just a couple of black eyes crop in the crossfire. But Division 4, where we have a full slate of fixtures, obviously, across Division 4. Coldstream, who had the bye last week prior to defeating Sylvan in our radio game 2 rounds ago, taking on East Burwood, who got over Surrey Park, Kilsyth, and had the bye the previous week before that.
This is a huge game, and this is I think the biggest challenge that East Burwood have got on the run home. The reason being that East Burwood, while they won by 20 points last week, I think they were a goal behind at the 15-minute mark of the last quarter against Surrey Park, and I heard Surrey had a number of injuries, so it was a great effort from East Burwood to get over the line and win. But today they're playing a Coldstream side that have got Shield back in the side, and he's the one that they've been waiting for. Quality player who, good runner, good overhead, can play defensively or offensively. They're playing on a huge ground, and while I think East Burwood have got a side that won't mind a big ground because of the fact that they've got strength down the spine and they run well, I think Coldstream are a real chance to take it up to East Burwood today and send a few messages. But having said all those things about Coldstream, I think East Burwood are just going to get over.
We saw this game earlier on in the season when it was played at East Burwood, and it was fairly tight early on, but East Burwood just too strong in the end. But when we saw Coldstream a couple of weeks ago function on that big ground, it got the mind ticking over of what they can do to sides that come out and they play the ground, and they, in Sylvan's case, they get lost on the ground and structures fall down. But I agree with you, Dave. I don't think it's going to bother East Burwood one iota playing on that big ground. They've got a lot of runners, and you mentioned their spine as well. And their forward line's dynamic. It's functioning well at the moment, and at ground level they seem to produce goals out of nowhere too. So I think East Burwood, they're ripe for this one. I think they'll get it done, but I think Coldstream are really going to push them.
And moving on to our second game in Division 4, probably one of the closest, I'd say, out of the round. Forest Hill coming off a defeat against Fair Park the week prior after dispatching of Nunawading 2 weeks prior to that. And taking on Sylvan, who we last saw on this game day losing to Coldstream out at Coldstream, but pretty comfortable win over Nunawading last week.
Yeah, look, I think this is a huge game for both teams here. I think Forest Hill certainly fancy themselves. The one thing is that Forest Hill won't have the advantage of saying, our small ground will suit us, because Sylvan play on a ground that's small as well. So I don't think there's going to be any difference there. Sylvan have got a couple of key players back in their group. I think they've probably got a little bit more riding on this game than Forest Hill. And I think that Sylvan will get over the line, but I reckon it's going to come right down to the wire.
Well, both sides are 5 and 6 on the ladder respectively, albeit Sylvan are significantly higher percentage than what Forest Hill has by about 40%. So you just got to look at that to know what sort of seasons both those sides have had. But Forest Hill, every game leading up, I said it on the podcast that this is a mini final for them, and I'm going to give them a chance today, Forest Hill.
And moving on to our third game in Division 4, Nunawading, who've lost to Sylvan last week and had a late season coaching change a couple of weeks back. They're hosting Fair Park, who've dispatched to Forest Hill last week, but had a key loss, I would say, to Surrey Park and dropped off the last few weeks. Yeah, I think the one thing that I've noticed is in the ins and outs this week, McKendry and Colosimo are both out for Fair Park, and I think they are the two biggest key players in their team. Yep. When we saw them against East Burwood, the way that they worked together was absolutely exceptional. Having said that, Fair Park have got some absolute giants in their side, and at Nunawading, I think the last team that came out and really touched up Nunawading were Surrey Park, and Surrey Park had Paolini kicking 16 or 17, and also Chris Smith kicked 13, and he went off at three-quarter time. They're going to have the same thing, Fair Park. They've got two monsters that they'll put down in the goal square, and you only got to get the ball there, and they're pretty hard to move at the best of times. So I can see that Fair Park might have a substantial win today against Nunawading.
Yeah, one of those monsters you speak of is James Goff. Gee, what a big lad he is. Good luck moving him, and good luck in a one-on-one contest.
And look, and I've said that, and they're 40 kilometres away from me, so...
Not anymore, because we welcome Mr. Goff to the program now.
But you're right. I think Fair Park will be too strong today.
I was just going to say another Fair Park. Brad Need, didn't he win a free footy?
He did actually.
Yeah, he keeps messaging the page. So
yeah, the Fair Park boys have been very big on our Victorian Responsible Gambling Foundation promotion on Facebook. So good on them as well. Quite a few of the guys have won free footies, and in fact, rather than then coming in to pick them up, I may as well just torped it across the road. They could have had it there.
Yeah, we get James Goff to kick them to Maul, right? And our final game in round 14 in Division 4 across the Eastern Football League this afternoon. Surrey Park taking on the still winless Croydon North Mount Lilydale Old Collegians.
Yeah, look, Surrey Park continue to need to win. They need to win. They need to make sure they keep their percentage high to give them that opportunity to play finals. And I think while Croydon North Emlock have certainly... Look, we can't even say they've been competitive, but you know what? The fact is that they're there and they're having a go, and they're certainly being really positive in everything that they do. which is fantastic. But I think at Surrey Park they're going to struggle, and Surrey for a big win today.
Well, if you look at the Division 4 ladder, it's Surrey Park sitting in 4th and Sylvan in 5th. Now, there's only 2% separating them and a game, so Surrey Park are going to use this game today as an opportunity to not only bank 4 points, but really put the foot down on that percentage.
And Kilsyth, the only other team, they have the bye this week. Well, that does it for all 5 divisions across the Eastern Football League. Still got about 5 minutes left here on the pre-match show. I thought we might take advantage of that opportunity to discuss a little bit about the finals picture in each division, and at this stage, who your tips are to make the top 5 or 4 across each division. Quickly, we'll go through our Premier Division.
Well, I think it's pretty hard to discount Vermont. I don't think you can say Vermont are going to miss out on finals. So yeah. I think really you're looking at the fact that Vermont are a lock, Blackburn are a lock, Baldwin are a lock, and Roval. I think those 4 you're going to find pretty hard to remove. It is that 5th position. You've got Noble, you've got South Croydon, and you've got Norwood. If you look at who they play, South Croydon probably have, if you want to call it, the softer of the draws. They still have Vermont in round 16, but they play Doncaster and Montrose in the last 2 rounds, so that certainly will help them. Look, I think South Croydon are going to get in there, and I think they're going to get in there just.
Well, it's interesting. The finals venues for all 5 divisions were announced recently, and for the women's as well, but if you look at Vermont, well and truly in the box seat at the moment, they may not even leave Bayswater Oval come the finals. The Premier Division finals are split between Baysy Oval and Central Reserve in Glen Waverley. Grand finals played at Bayswater. They're going to be very hard to stop. We've seen Vermont run around on these postage stamp grounds all year, but when they get on the wide open spaces and the way they move the footy, they'll be very hard to stop.
And the closest division across the Eastern Football League, we've been talking Division 1. Obviously, Doncaster, East and Croydon, you could lock in. The other 2? Well, yeah. I mean, but you can even lock in, you're talking East Ringwood and Knox, considering how close it was. Yeah,
look, I think you're probably going to say that you've got Croydon and Donny East are definites, and really the other 2, Bayswater and Lilydale, are probably definites as well, would you think, Dan?
Yeah, look, I agree. Doncaster East at the top. Bayswater as well is the one that's flown under the radar until we've blown their cover. But Croydon as well, red hot form throughout most of the year. I think it's going to come down to the end result's going to come down to who adapts to the wide ground the most.
Yeah.
Grand finals played at Baronia.
Yep.
We see teams get found out on bigger grounds, and if we're keeping with tradition this year, it's going to absolutely bucket down on Division 1 grand final day. So conditions and ground will play a huge factor, I think.
And Division 2, obviously Ringwood the team to beat, but again, another very close division.
Yeah, this is a really tough one to pick. I think if you look at it, you've got Ringwood, Baronia, Mitcham, and then there's a bit of a toss-up for 4th at this stage. We've got Heathmont fighting out for that position, and Templestowe.
Yeah.
So, who wins that, I'm not exactly sure yet. On their day, you've got all 3 top sides can win it on their day. It's going to come down to really who, a bit like last year in Division 2, who is going to have the best final series and who is going to be on their day more often than the opposition. So, look, you'd like to point to Ringwood and say that they're a real chance to get over the line, but there's that funny thing in the back of my head that says that Baronia might go back-to-back. I just got that funny feeling that they're the sort of team that will shine at the right time of the year.
Well, this time last year they started to come good in the run-up to the finals. And interesting when you look at the ladder for Baronia, they've only conceded 670 points, and Mitcham and Ringwood have conceded significantly more by about 200. So, and then but conversely, when you look at the scores that they've kicked, Baronia haven't kicked as large a scores as the other 2. But you only have to be the best side at the right time of year, which they proved last year across all 3 grades, really, because they were underdogs in all 3 of those grand finals, and they got up. So, interesting space. Watch this space, and Ringwood would be having nightmares about Baronia, I think.
Well, the other thing, and the point you brought up is really, really important. The team that is able to defensively structure up well is a team that often wins premierships.
Yep.
And the one thing about Baronia, you talk even last year, they didn't have many forwards that you'd say, oh, you've got to watch out for this forward. They had a number of players that would chip in for ones and twos every week. It was defensively that they were really strong. We know they're brilliantly coached. So, yeah, look, I'm going to stick with them. I went off on their midway through the season.
After the Templestowe game earlier on?
Well, they had a couple of games where they kicked one goal for a game. I just couldn't believe it. But defensively, they are strong, and we know that they can produce the goods at the right time.
Division 3, well, South Belgrave, and can anyone top them?
Well, it's theirs to lose.
Yeah.
That's basically the way it runs down. We've seen a number of teams in Division 3, and really none of them come anywhere close to South Belgrave. The Smoky is going to be Waverley Blues if they get in.
Yep.
They are going to be a Smoky because of the fact that they run and they run hard. So, yeah, that'll be interesting now.
Yeah, South Belgrave's to lose, and they got a good rap off Con Borg during the week, who said they'll go through undefeated.
All right, thanks, fellas. Well, we have to leave it there as we're about to bring you all the action live from Wantirna South and Mooroolbark. We'll see both of you on the other side of this break for the big game in EFL Division 1 between Wantirna South and Mooroolbark. Just make sure you stay tuned to SEN 1377 plus all afternoon. It's the big game between Mooroolbark and Wantirna South live just after this break.
And you're clear. Minutes now.
SEN Footy streaming live and exclusively on the all-new SEN app.
Ever heard of an anti-Trump conservative? Join John Ziegler's new podcast, Individual One, expressing the hard truths about Trump few others can or will. Search Individual One on Apple Podcasts.
SEN Footy streaming live and exclusively on the all-new SEN app.
Hello, I'm Tommy for the Family Peace Foundation. Sadly, my mum and dad are divorced. They both tell me how much they love me, but they just don't understand. Every time we do a changeover, they're both so mean to each other. It's like they don't know or even care that I'm there. If they really do love me, why do they make changeover so horrible for me? Family Peace. Do it for your kids.
After a new Honda and looking for the number one deal? Then come to the number one selling dealer, Astoria Honda Brighton on the Nepean Highway. Hi, Gordon Rose for the Astoria team, and we have big stocks of Honda cars looking to find a new home. What about yours? The Astoria Honda name has been around for over 50 years, stood the test of time, and we want to be your number one choice when buying a new Honda or quality pre-owned vehicle. We need good trade-ins. Astoria Honda Brighton, Melbourne's home of Honda. Who says bigger isn't better? LMCT 10901.
The only thing I would think about is who I'd be buried next to. I mean, that would matter to me.
Well, that's pre-planning because you'll need to get the plots next to each other.
Yeah, that's true. They're good conversations to have, aren't they? Because they give you a reference point if you've had no clear instruction or conversation.
Have an open and honest conversation. Celebrate your life the way you want, like I did, with a fixed price funeral plan from Tobin Brothers Funerals. The price doesn't change and your life will be celebrated your way. Find out more at tobinbrothers.com.au. Tobin Brothers Funerals, celebrating lives.
Hello, I'm Peter Hitchener. 9 News invites you to join our team nightly.
Hello there.
Jones with the latest sport, including the footy, plus Lavinia Nixon's weather forecast. 9 News.
Hello there.
Stock up on soup. Pull out your woolly footy scarf.
2 minutes.
Now you're all set to survive the chilli season. It's time to get the whole house prepped.
Trying to reset something.
No, that's all right. Just asking if we're doing Clint Stanaway today at half time.
Hang on a second. We're doing Clint? Yeah, we are.
No worries. Thanks for that.
Hey, Nigel, do you ring him on his landline or his mobile?
His landline.
Okay, thanks, mate.
Yeah, no worries.
Robot Building Supplies, because robots got it. Steel, sleepers, wire mesh, timber, roofing.
I'm loving the views you're sending out of the Dandenongs. It's quite nice.
Colour also available custom cut. Save time and money with Robot.
Okay, 1 minute 15.
Darnham. Call 1300 GO ROBOT or robotbuildingsupplies.com.au.
ROBOT Robot Building Supplies.
You can't get a Rolex for $100, and there's no way you'd get a brand new Ferrari for a couple of grand. We all know you get what you pay for. The same is true with pressure cleaners. Cheap foreign imports lack reliable muscle.
So is that footage coming from a drone?
So avoid the fakes and get a pressure cleaner that's Aussie made for tough Aussie conditions. Get a Spitwater. Call 1300 Spitwater or see spitwater.com.au. Spitwater.
30 seconds.
Barrow World Champions.
The State of Origin Decider.
He scores the try. They have stolen New South Wales in one of the most remarkable finishes.
And every big footy moment.
Elliott gathers against the boundary, open the goal front up and snapped it through.
You'll hear it live on SEN and the SEN app. For race gutters, Australian made, built to last. And on deck, small business line.
Okay, here we go with the intro.
Be streaming live and exclusively on the all-new SEN app.
It's time for the match of the round. Let's cross to our team and go local for your footy.
All right, here we go. Put your mics on. Oh.
And you're listening to 1377 SEN Plus. It's EFL Game Day live from Heights Reserve out here in Mooroolbark, where it's Mooroolbark taking on Wantirna South in Division 1 action. 5 weeks to go in the Eastern Football League season 2019. The finals race hotting up, and these two teams, a pivotal clash, as we mentioned on the EFL pre-match, speaking to both coaches, both clubs with plenty at stake, both in terms of the finals picture and staying in Division 1. Don't forget to join us all through the way through to 5 o'clock here for the EFL Game Day match of the day between Mooroolbark and Wantirna South. And at 5 o'clock we'll bring you the EFL post-game show. 18 games this weekend as you go local for your footy. 2 split rounds, 1 in Premier Division and 1 in Division 2. And tomorrow, join us from 10 o'clock on EFL Sunday as we break down all the results and speak with some of the winning coaches from across the Eastern Football League. Time now to introduce the call team for this afternoon's game between Mooroolbark and Wantirna South, starting with Brad Henderson, the accurate one.
Oh, thanks very much, Steve. Great to be back out at Heights Reserve. First time I've been here for probably about 4 years, I reckon, 4 or 5 seasons. So it's been a while, but good to be back out here again. The ground, it doesn't aesthetically look fantastic, but it looks like it'll probably play pretty well, and because it is dry, it doesn't sort of it's no thing of beauty. To be fair, but hopefully it does provide a good game of footy this afternoon, and it's really last chance saloon for Wantirna South.
Yep.
Today, their form has been very indifferent, really, since the early stages of the season. But they never give up without a fight. Wantirna South over the years, even when they're not having a great season, they often find a way to eke out a couple of surprise wins. And today they would back themselves to be some sort of chance as well. But hopefully we get a close game. But you've got one team who's been in terrific form against a team who's been in really sort of indifferent form. So, but hopefully Wantirna South can play above themselves this afternoon.
And introducing our number one special comments man, you heard him on EFL pre-match, Brett Davidson.
Steve, Brad, good to be here. And yes, it's I think Brad summed the description of the ground up pretty clearly, actually. It's one of those, it's an unusual ground, it's very big. And the side that's able to run and carry the football can certainly do some damage on this ground. It was a tight game in the reserves, not a very high-scoring ground. It looked like it was, I still think it's probably a 3 to 4 goal breeze going down in one direction. So I'm looking forward to a reasonably tight opening, but I've just got that funny feeling that the experience and the desire to play finals might be a little bit greater at the moment for the Mooroolbark footy side.
And riding the boundary all this afternoon will be one Ben Warren-Smith. We'll go to him shortly, bringing you all the scores from across the Eastern Football League in the Score Centre this afternoon. Dan Sensick.
Yeah, good afternoon, Steve. Really looking forward to this clash. A lot of people have made it last chance saloon for Wantirna South. Some people have drawn a line through the Devils as well. It's going to be interesting to see how they respond today. They haven't exactly troubled the scorers in the last couple of weeks. Wantirna South, let's face it, and Mooroolbark have been on an upward trajectory since the last time these two sides met when they drew earlier on in the year. So ground in magnificent condition. In previous years when I'd come out here, it'd been belting down with rain and it had been a real mud heap, so it's improved out of sight since I last came out here, and looking forward to a good clash.
I'm going to say, you're not as a prolific line drawer as one Gavin Casey, but you have to challenge him for his title on EFL Insight. Don't forget to tune into that during the week, Thursday morning, and we'll have another cracking Where Are They Now, our favourite segment, another good one this week. So don't forget, 18 games across the Eastern Football League this afternoon as you go local for your footy, and the EFL post-game show from 5 o'clock. We're going to be doing it live here from Heights Reserve out in Mooroolbark. Join myself, BWS, and Dan Sensick for that. So before we go into this afternoon's game, quick tip from all of you.
Look, I've said I'm going for Mooroolbark. I just wanted to bring up, it must be heartbreaking. You're looking out on the team, it's a huge game, you're ready to go, and your runner is coming towards you, and you look who it is, and it's Luke Williams. Yeah. You know, Luke Williams is the runner. You just think to yourself, imagine if he was out here being able to play. You'd certainly, everyone else would walk taller, and I think you're a 4-goal better side with him in the team. But today, I think Mooroolbark at home will be too good.
Brad?
Yeah, I tend to agree with you there, Davo. I think it'll be pretty close, and I got a bit of a feeling it might be one of those days where it's a bit of a heartbreak story for Wantirna South, where they'll actually lead for much of the game and be right in it, and then just come up short at the end, just lacking that little bit of class, and also the fact that Mooroolbark have got a couple more match winners in their side who can carry them to victory. But yeah, that's how I see it playing out today.
We'll get a quick check from you, Dan.
Yeah, Mustangs too strong. We're keeping a keen eye on Aaron Mullett, who's been on fire this season, over 40 goals as well.
Cross down. And let's go down to our car sales boundary rider, Ben Warren-Smith.
Great to be down boundary side, back up at Heights Reserve at Muzzabee. And I tell you what, it's a sun-drenched Heights Reserve today. And the wind's pretty swirly down here. We heard Davo say it's a 3 to 4 goal breeze heading towards the scoreboard and the pavilion end. It keeps chopping and changing a bit, but it is definitely favouring down that end, of which Mooroolbark will be kicking to the clubroom ends right of your radio dial, right of your screen in this first term.
Yes, all the action to kick things off here between Mooroolbark and Wantirna South. Brad Henderson.
Oh, thanks very much, Steve. And it will be Paul Thatcher for Mooroolbark to begin the ruck duties against Big Jake Deans of Wantirna South. Umpire throws it up, and it's Thatcher who grabs it out of the ruck, throws it on the boot straight away and tumbles it forward. They go forward quickly here, the Mustangs. That didn't take long at all, and it was just off target, the kick. Minus score there for Mooroolbark, but they are on the board straight away. One behind Wantirna South yet to score, and that took less than 15 seconds to get the first score of the game as Walker brings the ball back into play. Walker's kick to the outer side. Thatcher with a big fist from behind. Ball comes back forward again, but it's been marked nicely in defence there by, looks like Tim Lee there for the Devils. In fact, it's Sean Young. So there's about 4 players with the man bun for Wantirna South this afternoon, and Young is one of those. His kick hugging the boundary, then over the boundary line, and it'll be a throw-in. Less than 1 minute gone in the first term here, and Mooroolbark one behind on the board.
So, in come the rucks, Dennis and Thatcher to go at it. Ball evaded both of them. For Hungry on the football there is Pokinghorn. He turns around, puts it onto the right boot in towards the forward line. Target there is Mullett, and umpire said he was the one affecting the infringement there. And it's got the kick going the way of Wantirna South. Oakley's going to take this one now for the Devils, deep in his own back pocket. Just surveys the scene and puts it onto the right boot up towards the centre wing area. One-on-one contest. Thatcher with the strong jukes takes it over the top, and looks like he's going to play on, but it looks like he's going to get tackled there by Ward. Bit of indecision, but the Mustangs come away with it. Onto the left it goes, in towards the forward line. Trying to pick that up was Walker. He got a hand pass there from Leggett. And it's loose on the deck as players converge, and we're going to have a ball up. Taylor Leggett there with the handball.
Cross now.
Let's go down to car sales boundary rider, BWS.
Just interesting to note that Wantirna South's first terms throughout season 2019 is their worst. It is imperative they get off to a good start today.
Trying to take that footy on the run there was Wong for Wantirna South. They bust through. He plays a good tackle. Lucky to get away with it there with the Stangs. Here's the kick now in towards the forward line. Mullet the target, couldn't take it on the first bounce, trying to gather it off the deck, did well again, shakes
well
two
done.
tackles, turns around, puts it on the left and he's kicked it! Well, early contender for goal of the day, and Aaron Mullet has put the Mustangs in front with a first major. 1-1-7, they lead Wantirna South, yet to score, 2.5 gone.
That was a great goal, and the impressive part of that goal was when he got control of the football, it was his next 6 or 7 metres where he really put a little bit of pace and distance between his opponent and his ability to turn around, and that's a beautiful goal. And already we can see that, you know, hands on the football early at the contest with Mooroolbark has been really important.
So 7-point lead for Mooroolbark, 1-1-7. Wantirna South yet to score. Back in the middle, Deans against Thatcher once more. Quick kick by Deans was smothered, and Mooroolbark take possession. Thatcher tumbles the ball forward. Medan Musa there tried to paddle it on, but it was intercepted by Wong. Lincoln Wong's kick out towards the outer side where Hagar leads the race to the ball. Strongly tackled then by Crome, and has he earned himself a free kick? Ward, in fact, it was for Wantirna South. So Fergus Ward gets the free kick in the bright red boots. Fergus Ward very short, barely travelled the required distance as it found Taylor Leggett, one of the real class players in this Wantirna South team. Leggett's kick then. Bumped off the ball was Wong. Mooroolbark take possession. Fitzgerald lost a handle on it. Nice handball by Carney, gave it to Crome. Then off to Deans, the kick forward, looking for Jackson, who went to ground, was pushed off the ball. Polkinghorn there, hunts down the footy. He was dumped off it though. Carney had his kick well smothered. It's a hotly contested footy, this one. And not surprisingly, in the end, it results in a ball up right in the middle of Mooroolbark Heights Reserve. 2 crucial smothers already for Mooroolbark's been really important. They're switched on, they're ready.
Thatcher couldn't win the tap, neither could Deans, and that will go back to the umpire for a ball up. Beautiful picturesque day as the sun a little bit cloudy now, coming off the Dandenongs. Out here at Mooroolbark, there's the tap, one off now here by Wantirna South. They get the kick now up in towards the forward line. It's evades the head of most players, and trying to get a hurried kick out there was Wright. His kick straight off the side of the boot, and it bounces over the boundary line for a boundary throw-in.
It's been a number of years since I've seen Matty Polkinghorn. I'm just really interested to see, because he was one of the best players in the competition a few years ago, just an absolute superstar.
Deans and Thatcher continue their drill. Give that one there to Deans. A loose footy as players go in for it now. As Lang was there for Wantirna South, as was Hager. Neither of them could keep it in. We'll have another boundary throw in.
There's certainly some real intent from the Wantirna South players. You can see they're ready, they're fired up, they're hitting contests hard. They've just got to get their hands on the footy a bit better.
Deans takes it straight off the ruck and puts it in towards the forward line. As going back with the flight and taking a good mark there is Kennedy. He plays on straight away and puts it out in towards centre wing. On his own there is Musa for Mooroolbark. He puts on the afterburners, just chips it over the top, but no one there except Blake Walker for Wantirna South. He takes it uncontested footy and he plays on. Well, probably kick was a little too short as Sutherland chops it off, puts it onto the right boot in towards the goal square, 1-on-1, and fisted over for the minor score there by Lang. Good defensive effort from him. Looks like it's actually gone out of bounds just on the other side, but good effort there from Mooroolbark to capitalise on that mistake, but no addition to the scoreline.
Well, today already I've seen there's a lot of speed around the contest from Mooroolbark. This is where Lincoln Wong's really got to get involved for Wanty because of his speed.
McManus sharked the pack nicely. Quick kick came from Dolan, and Ben Dolan put it through the goals. So nice work there from the ruckman. He contested the ruck contest, got it down to McManus, and then it found its way to McManus, and it just sort of fortuitously landed in Dolan's hands, but he was quick then by hand to foot and put it through for an important goal for the Mustangs. So 2-1-13 Mooroolbark lead at Wantirna South, yet to score, and Ben Dolan kicks the Mooroolbark second after Aaron Mullet booted their first goal. So slow start here by the Devils, yet to register any sort of score in the first 7 minutes. Thatcher wins the tap from the ruck contest. Polkinghorne seemed to be held on to there, and that was the way the umpire saw it. So Matty Polkinghorne, he is a ball magnet. He knows how to find the footy, and expect to see him feature very prominently today. Long searching kick by him, and there's a bit of holding on in the contest, and the free kick will go here to Mooroolbark. So they've got the free kick, and it looks like Mullet there with the ball. So it didn't seem to be a whole lot in that contest, but Mullet, we know, is a lethal left foot, and he'll line up here from about 25 metres out, straight in front. You'd expect him to kick this with ease, a player of his class. So Aaron Mullet walks in, takes his time, shouldn't have too many problems, and makes no mistake, puts it through for the third goal on the board, and Mooroolbark are off to a flyer. Aaron Mullet has got his second. Mooroolbark have their third. They're 3-1-19. Wantirna South yet to score. We've gone 8 minutes in the first quarter on the Eastland scoreboard.
And you can see already that the Wantirna South defence are a little bit worried about him. When the ball went down there, he had 3 players on him. He was never going to mark that ball. It was always either going to go to the top of the pack or over the pack. They just got to be careful, you know. It was there. The free kick was there. It was just a clumsy free kick and not necessary from the Wantirna South defenders.
So Barnard into the ruck now for Wantirna South. Dean's having a spell on the boundary as the umpire restarts proceedings. Barnard wins the tap. Loose footy on the deck. Polkinghorne's in there. So is Eshtetu. Wong is wrapped up in the tackle, and that will be ball up according to the umpire. So we've played just under 9 minutes here out at Heights Reserve. Thatcher wins the tap off the draw there. Polkinghorne goes looking for it for the Mustangs, applying a pretty strong tackle there was Thatcher. We'll have another ball up.
Got some scores from Dan at the score centre.
Yeah, thanks, Brad. In Division 1, Park Orchards 1-1-7 leading Knox 1 straight 6, and Bayswater 1 straight 6 leading Doncaster East yet to score.
Thanks, Dan. Early days across the Eastern Football League this afternoon. Keep those scores coming in on Twitter at EFL, Footy EFL, as the tap one down there by Barnard, and that will be a ball up.
Yeah, they've big Matty Barnard there, Steve, the number 29. He's an absolute man mountain. Yep. He's inherited that jumper from another big man mountain in Daniel Bedome, who wore that jumper with distinction for about 10 years for Wantirna South. And I don't reckon they would have needed a bigger jumper for Matty Barnard.
James Goff size. So the ball comes back off the tap. Good tackle applied there by Sutherland, and we'll have another ball up.
I'd say it's nearly Adam Slater size.
Adam Slater size, just the one in between them. So in comes the ball up again. Thatcher with a good 10-metre knock forward as Walker goes looking for it. For Wantirna South, he's tackled there by Sutherland, that being of the Austin variety, and we'll have a ball up.
Yeah, we do indeed. Palm down then to Musa. His kick didn't travel too far. Walker takes possession. Clever handball to Young. Sean Young's kick there, hugging the boundary, going along the ground. Wong tried to take possession. Could have been held there by Sutherland. No free kick. Wong fed it out nicely to Rub. High up and under kick. Troy Wright, judges the ball in flight brilliantly. Does that so well for Mooroolbark. Great intercept marker. And Troy Wright's kick finds Hagar in space. Hagar's bullet pass is a beauty. And he hits Mullet on a long lead. That was great footy from the Mustangs.
Yeah, look, again, it's the ball just cannot get past the Wantirna South half-forward line at the moment. And that transition play through the middle, great hit-up lead. And, if Mullet kicks 3 early on, he's going to be a very, very dangerous player, you'd think, for the rest of the game.
Cross down.
It's crossed down to Ben Warren-Smith.
And see James McManus come on for Mooroolbark in the number 7, another famous number 7 who plays in the reserve, Scott Demetrio, the president, in Croatia on a boat at the moment. He'll be tuning in. Good on you, Scotty.
So Aaron Mullet, that lethal left foot that I spoke about, this time it was just off to the left. Didn't miss by much, but minor score there. And I tell you what, Wantirna South supporters would breathe a sigh of relief because they need to hit back here. It's 3-1-19 to no score.
Indeed they do, as Brent Walker brings the footy back out now here for Wantirna South, and just in short finds Young. And he looks up field as well and just goes in short back to Walker. They interchange about 15 metres. His short pass is on. And Wantirna South just playing a bit of a game of inches here at the moment. Kick was just the required distance. That found Jaden Raab. His kick onto the right, just over the top. Finds Carney. Excuse me, that's Daniel Crome. And this is a bit of a chip and chase. So we're going up by Sam McIntyre. Well, originally listed as emergency for today's game, but he's in the side this afternoon. Quick chip over the top. And I think we're going for the possession game as Chrome's got his second kick in as many seconds. There's not much on offer for him on centre wing, so he puts it in towards the half-forward line. It's mainly Mooroolbark players and a good strong mark taken at the front. And looks like we've got... no, it's going the other way. It looks like Kennedy had taken the mark, but it goes back now here to Grimer. Grimer now, his kick in towards the forward line. Good spoil over the top there from Dolan. It's loose on the deck. Mooroolbark, though, are going to sweep up across their back line. And they come out of defence. Here's the kick up in towards the direction there of Hager. He got collected there. In comes Fitzgerald to mop up the remainder. Puts it onto the right boot. Shanked it in the process, and it just dribbles out over the boundary line for a boundary throw. Let's go to Dan Sensick in the score centre.
In Division 4, Coldstream 2 straight 12 leading Eastbuild 1 straight 6.
Thanks, Dan. Keep those scores coming around from the Eastern Football League. 18 games on offer as you go local for your footy this afternoon. Barnard's got front spot. He takes it straight off the ruck. Gives a hand pass over the top there. Intended target. There was Raab. Couldn't take it off the deck. Maybe his teammate there in Carney can, but he's pretty well dealt with. A kick there from Jackson was partially smothered. Enough there to pick up there from Batten. His kick in towards the centre of the ground where it's going to be a one-on-one contest. Getting to it first there was David Lang. Did well to avoid getting absolutely poleaxed. Gets a handball out now here to Leggett. Leggett's got not much on offer, so he decides to switch the play out towards centre wing, and that's better now here from Wantirna South. Henry now puts it onto the right boot in towards the forward line, but it's all Mooroolbark, and the intended target there was Dennis, but Kennedy takes the mark here for the Mustangs.
Does indeed. Shane Kennedy brings it out to this broadcast side where Dobie's the target. He loves to run and carry the footy, Braden Dobie, but he'll have to stop and prop this time, and his kick there was fisted away. It was intended for Harris on debut, but it was punched away there by Daniel Crome over the boundary line.
Well, that's about 5 or 6 times they've gone inside 50 for an easy intercept there. They're just not lowering their eyes when they go inside 50, Wanty South at the moment.
Strong tackle there by Batten and McManus there on Fergus Ward. Will be a ball up. He was going nowhere, so the umpire to throw it up here. Knocked down. Little handball came out to Crome. Nice work there by Jake Deans, who gave it to Leggett. Leggett's long kick, big leap, great mark taken by Lee. Will it be paid? The umpire said no. Nathan Deans, in fact, it was there. And the umpire's deciding not to pay a mark there. And may have been Troy Wright getting a hand in on that one. Strong tackle by Carney. This time on Sutherland, and another ball up. So Wantirna South have stemmed the bleeding in the last 5 minutes. Now they just need to find a way to hit the scoreboard themselves as McManus dishes off the handball to Dobie. This is what he does well. Takes a couple of bounces and then drives it forward. It was a real floater of a kick. Easy for Oakley to pick off that time. Polkinghorn puts his body over the ball. Good work though by Wong to feed it out. The clearing kick though was almost marked by Billy Batten. Throws it on the boot, Batten, his kick though, and it falls well short. Marked back there by Castricum, who shares it with Lang, and Lang's clearing kick is a good one. He finds the late inclusion in Sam McIntyre, and McIntyre will clear now for the Devils.
So McIntyre puts it onto the right boot up towards centre wing, has the front spot. That is Dolan, couldn't take it or drag it down. Greig couldn't get it in there for Wanty South, and it goes over the boundary line on the far side of the ground. Almost true centre wing position. So the breeze starting to pick up a little bit there across the ground. Here comes the boundary throw now. Dean's back into the ruck, swats it forward about 5 metres. Good hands there from Greig now to get a handball out. Now here to Wong, his kick now in towards the half-forward line. And the mark taken as a kick comes now back in towards the forward line. Target there was Lee. He took a good mark there in front of his man, and he's about 45 in front of the Wantirna South goal. He looks like he's going to go back and try his luck. They do need one here, the Devils, just to stem the bleeding a little bit here early in this first. But his good short kick is marked there by Taylor Leggett, and he's going to go back and shoot for goal.
Well, that was exactly what they've needed to do. Lower their eyes, look for the pass inside and hit their targets, which was really good. And Lee moving from the back half of the ground a year or so ago into the forward half is certainly a good target for them. And
well, Leggett went in short looking for Lee and ended up in the hands there of Shane Kennedy, and the Mustangs play this one out. There's Dobie's kick off the right boot up towards centre wing. Couldn't take the mark there, Good Hager. Picked up though by Grigg, and the Devils will come right back in, and Raab takes a contested mark there about 60 from home here for Wantirna South. Well, played on. Well, the umpire said he didn't, and now he puts it onto the right boot in towards the forward line. Well, plenty of Mustangs there. Trying to take the mark there was Deans. Couldn't drag it in. Trying to drag it down himself. There was, I believe that we'll have to get clarification on who's wearing 42 there, BWS, when you got a second. And we'll have a ball up now inside, just outside the forward line. Deans now swats it down there for Wantirna South. Wong, well, it looks like he was taken high. Yep. And he's going to take a free kick now for Wantirna South. 45 out here for the Devils, looking for a short lead on. Well, I think the target there for him was Luke Grimer, and taken now here by Ashetu.
Yep, Michael Ashetu Mulugeta with the ball in his hands, sums up his options and then just hoists a high one out towards the wing position. Raab paddles it to the boundary line and finds the safety of the boundary line, as we hear from Dan Sensit with some more scores.
Yeah, thanks, Brad. Midway through the opening term in Premier Division, Blackburn 2-2-14, leading Doncaster 2-1-13.
3-2-20 plays no score here on the Eastland scoreboard, with Mooroolbark leading. Raab takes possession, boots it forward. Deans that time attacked the footy well then, Nathan Deans. Lost a handle on the footy though. Little handball came away. It's close to the boundary line. Greg takes possession now. He's immediately wrapped up though by Polkinghorn. Good strong tackle then by Matty Polkinghorn. And Lachlan Gregg was going nowhere. So the umpire to throw it up.
They haven't scored for 12 minutes, Mooroolbark, so I'd say that's a win for Wanty South.
Handball then by Chrome. Ashetu Mulugeta takes possession. Gave it to Dobie. He's an excitement machine, this kid. A little bit awkward as he bounces the footy, but he dishes it off nicely. High up and under kick to half forward. Bounces into open space. Mullet got a bad bounce then. Oakley did well, but he sold himself into trouble. Managed to get the handball away. Mullet takes possession and strongly tackled then by Sean Young. So it'll be a ball up. Damon Oakley there, he ran himself into real danger, but he did manage to get away with it. So Polkinghorn over the footy. Almost played for a free kick then against Lang. No free kick given. And it will be another ball up.
Doesn't look good. Mullet's coming off the ground. He's hurt his knee in that last exchange and is not looking good at all.
Nice handball then from Raab, gave it to Young. Young's tumbling kick was intercepted. Mooroolbark go forward once more. High up and under kick, it'll land in the hands of Jay Harris on debut. And the yellow boots. Young Harris is a right footer, kicks to the pocket. 2-on-1 favoured the Devils though, and the mark safely held back there by Castricum. Ever reliable in defence for Wantirna South.
So Castricum's kick up towards the half-back line. Thatcher was in there, couldn't drag it down, neither could Tim Lee. It bounces now here for Polkinghorn. Oh, well, he's made a real meal of that and out of bounds on the fall. And free kick going the way of Wantirna South, and it's going to be Sean Young to take it.
Well, this ground is so hard that the bounce of the ball is really putting a lot of players off. The ball is bouncing, 3 or 4 metres in the air when it's hitting the ground.
So taking that intercepted there for Mooroolbark, and it was kicked right back in towards the forward line. Dobie went back with the flight, couldn't pick it up. He's got it now off the ground, and he's kicked it. And the Mustangs have their 4th of the afternoon. Mooroolbark 4-2-26. They lead Wantirna South, yet to score. 22 minutes gone on the Eastland scoreboard.
Well, that was great follow-up work, but really poor defensively by Wanty South. you've got to have someone down on the ground when the ball is falling over the back of the pack. So poor defensive, and that's the goal that Wanty South didn't want Mooroolbark to kick in that last couple of minutes.
So 4-2-26 Mooroolbark lead Wantirna South, no score on the Eastland scoreboard. So, gee, can they break their duck before quarter time? 22 minutes gone for the Devils. They haven't been able to get a score. This is Polkinghorne, who's been very busy early. Finds Dobie. Braden Dobie off and running again. Boots it forward. Over the back. Taking possession then. The kick came away out towards the wing position, but the mark's been safely held there by Harris. So Jay Harris goes short over the top of Hagar's head, and he's not happy. Has a word, or a very stern word with his teammate there, but that's a bit harsh to a kid who's on debut, like it's a basic skill error. He obviously didn't mean to do it.
Yeah, you walk up and say, mate, I'm sorry, I actually wanted to kick it over your head out of bounds. So, it was a bit tough, but that's right. It's good that means that they're serious about their game.
Umpire throws it up. McManus soccers off the ground. Strong tackle applied. I just know as a supporter, Davo, when I go to watch Melbourne play, I never berate a guy who's on debut because they're trying their best. Yeah. You know it's not lack of effort or it's probably nerves or whatever, especially in the first quarter.
And he's actually done a few good things. He's made good position and, he's let himself down with his disposal, but that happens.
McManus, the ball landed in his hands, and James McManus will go back and line up here. He looks pretty confident of getting the distance, and he's usually a good finisher.
Been a great player for this footy club, hasn't he, James McManus?
He has. Doesn't wear the goggles as he did for a few years there.
No.
He's just distinctive with the goggles, but he's ditched them now. Left footer, James McManus, real floater off the boot. It was a poor kick and it was easily fisted through there for a minor score. So 26-point lead for Mooroolbark. 4-2-26. Wantirna South yet to score on the Eastland scoreboard.
Let's go to Dan Sensick in the score centre.
In Division 3, Glen Waverley Hawks off to a great start early, 3-3-21, leading Donvale 1-2-8.
Thanks, Dan. As Walker's kick out went to a contest, neither team could drag it down. Chrome has it now for Wantirna South, puts it up towards centre wing, but taking an uncontested footy. There is Deans. Excuse me, that's Paul Haig. No, we've got to get confirmation who's wearing the 21 there, thanks BWS. Wong taps that one over. Going in hard for the footy there was Blake Walker for Wanty South, and that will go over the boundary line for a boundary throw. A couple of late jersey changes, always throwing a bit of spanner in the works, but I'm sure BWS is on the case. We already confirmed that Josh Diamond's wearing 42 for Mooroolbark this afternoon. In comes the tap. Barnard wins it down, but no one can really drag that in as Lang is not going anywhere, but the ball is going straight back to the umpire. So we played nearly 26 minutes here out at Heights Reserve, dragging this one down. Polkinghorne read it well off the ruck. His hand pass is intercepted there by Leggett. Leggett gets the hand pass away and a good kick out of defence. If it wants turns down up towards centre wing, coming over the top with a spoil there was Shane Kennedy, but it's fallen right back to the Devils. Onto the left it goes up towards centre wing, and Ashedu Mulligeta is going to take a uncontested mark now on the edge of the centre square. He puts it right in to Thatcher. Thatcher now turns and goes and puts it onto the right in the direction there of Polkinghorne, about 5 metres in front of him at the half-forward line. Well read though, as Chrome has took the footy, but I think he was taken without it, more so than when he did have it, and it looks like we're going to have 25 as well running through the mark. And Wantirna South can have a free kick here, just shy of centre wing on the near side of the ground. 26 minutes played, and that kick is just hugging the boundary line, and it goes out for a boundary throw. So 4-3-27, Wantirna South yet to score, as that's Jordan Roth wearing number 21 there this afternoon.
It is indeed boundary throw in right in front of our broadcast position. Walker takes possession of the Blake variety this time for Wantirna South. Very short kick and it finds Lockie Gregg. So he's indecisive. Gee, there are a lot of teammates appealing for the footy. Gregg just pushes it sideways to Chrome, who was just about his team's best player in the first term, but he wasn't able to exert much impact nevertheless, because Wantirna South yet to score at quarter time. Mooroolbark 4-3-27, Wantirna South no score, and it is a 27-point lead to Mooroolbark on the Eastland scoreboard. They are dominating early out here at Heights Reserve.
Goals to Dolan, 2 to Mullet and 1 to Dobie. They are the only goal kickers here this afternoon so far in this game. You're listening to 1377 SEN Plus. We'll be back with more of Mooroolbark and Wantirna South right after this.
SEN Footy streaming live and exclusive.
And you're clear, 4 minutes.
Gary Lyon and Tim Watson.
I don't know if Chris Fagan's got a pipe up there, but he'd be smoking it if he has. Brisbane had an all-of-club meeting this week to brief every level of the organisation about finals. So that didn't happen?
It was more about, well, if it does happen, this is what it looks like, and you don't need to change anything. Just do what you do every other day that you come to work. That's what you need to do in finals.
For Melbourne Airport Valet, book 4 days online from $140. abercrombie.kent.com.au. Back Monday from 6.
Decided to go with the mahogany with gold handles on the side and white roses. I think that should look really elegant.
I like how you can see it all.
Tobin Brothers Funerals' latest Memory Maker app gives you more choice than ever before. With the app's newest Build Your Own feature, you can now personalise your own coffin or casket. Choose the design, the colour, the handles, the drapery and flowers to match. Download Tobin Brothers Funerals' Memory Maker app from the App Store or visit tobinbrothers.com.au. Tobin Brothers Funerals, celebrating lives.
Hello, I'm Peter Hitchener. 9 News invites you to join our team nightly at 6 for Melbourne's #1 news. Tony Jones with the latest sport, including the footy, plus Lavinia Nixon's weather forecast. 9 News, proud supporter of the Eastern Football League.
Here we go. Holidays are great, but there's no place like home.
Oh, well, something's not right. What's that smell?
I don't know.
Well, who will know?
Identifiber.
Do we really need to call Identifiber? We've only been away for a week.
But the house does smell weirdly musty.
Guess so.
Don't guess with your health. If you're concerned about unknown odours at home or in the workplace, call Identifiber on 9570 1555 or see identifiber.com.au.
It's well worth being sure.
You can't get a Rolex for $100, and there's no way you'd get a brand new Ferrari for a couple of grand. We all know you get what you pay for. The same is true with pressure cleaners. Cheap foreign imports lack reliable muscle, but Spitwater pressure cleaners are strong, powerful, and built to last. So avoid the fakes and get a pressure cleaner that's Aussie made for tough Aussie conditions. Get a Spitwater. Call 1300 Spitwater or see spitwater.com.au. Spitwater. That's what it does.
Stock up on soup, pull out your woolly footy scarf and suspend your gym membership. Now you're all set to survive the chilly season. It's time to get the whole house prepped by hooking up your cooking, hot water and heat with natural gas. Getting gas in every room is easy, and with our rebates it's often free. So grab your hot chockey, settle into your cosy cocoon and love winter. Search Australian gas networks to find out how much you could save. Hello! Concrete Fusion is the very latest range of 2019 National Floor Tiles to take the market by storm. And National Tiles have gate-crashed the market on this all-new range of $40 floor tiles at an unbeatable $19.95. Yes, that's right, the all-new $40 Concrete Fusion National Floor Tiles at an introductory price of just $19.95 per metre. Available in-store now or shop online 24/7 at nationaltiles.com.au.
Coming up to 45 seconds.
During their best buys on big...
Okay. You know the footage that the guys are showing off, is that off drone? Do they use a drone to... That's amazing. So it's really good.
A big brand sale is on now.
Okay. The post-game.
91 for you.
No worries. All right, we've got coming up to 20 seconds.
Underworks, we've been making socks for the last 20 years. So next time you're buying socks, pick up a pair of all-day socks by Underworks. They're so comfy, you'll chuck all your other socks out. Available at all leading retailers.
SEN Footy streaming live and exclusively on the all-new SEN app.
Okay, here we go. Putting the mics back on.
Local for your footy.
And go.
And you're listening to 1377 SEN Plus. It's EFL game day out here at Heights Reserve. We're at quarter time. It's Mooroolbark 4-3-27 leading Wantirna South. Yet to score. Goals to Aaron Mullett, who's kicked 2, Ben Dolan with 1, and Braden Derby with 1. And Davo, your thoughts on that first quarter?
Yeah, look, obviously Mooroolbark jumped out of the blocks really quickly and got the score on the board, but I thought Wantirna South's last 15 minutes was pretty good.
Cross down.
Let's go down to car sales boundary out of BWS.
Just over at the Mooroolbark huddle at quarter time, guys. Walking off now with our senior coach, Brett Lavers. Mate, you must be pretty happy with that. You kept it pretty open. You had the breeze, and the boys seemed to work the game style pretty well in that first term.
Yeah, I thought it was a good performance that first quarter. We managed to put enough pressure on Wantirna South to give ourselves some opportunity to get inside 50, and we would have liked to convert maybe a little bit straighter, but we've definitely put some scoreboard pressure on, that's for sure.
The message in this second term, you're going against the breeze now. It's more about probably controlling the tempo and just grinding away, keeping those scoring opportunities at a minimum for Wantirna.
Yeah, I think you're spot on to what I said out there. We really can't afford to be lazy with this. We've got to control the tempo into the breeze and try and run and carry the footy.
Good stuff, mate. It's a great start by you boys, and all the best.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks, BWS. Let's go to Dan Sensick with some quick score updates from around the EFL.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. In Premier Division, Blackburn 4-3-27, leading Doncaster 2-2-14. Rowville trailing Norwood 1 straight 6 to Norwood 5-6-36. A massive result there. And Division 1, Doncaster East 2-4-16, leading Bayswater 2-3-15. As we turn our attention to Croydon and East Ringwood. East Ringwood 4-3-27, leading Croydon 2-1-13. Division 2, Mulgrave 4-5-29, leading Templestowe 4-1-25.
Thanks, Dan. Some interesting results. Keep those scores coming in across the Eastern Football League. I should say scores, not results. Still plenty of footy left to go this afternoon. 3/4 of it to go here out at Heights Reserve between Mooroolbark and Wantirna South. And to bring us in, Brad Henderson.
Yeah, thanks very much, Steve. Interesting to note that Damon Oakley for Wantirna South, who pretty sure he had the job on Mullet in that first quarter at different times. He's actually gone to full forward now for Wantirna South, so he's gone to the other end of the ground, or the end of the ground that he was at in that first quarter, but obviously now in an offensive role. And David Lang has the job on Aaron Mullet. David Lang, very experienced veteran for the Devils. We'll try to use that cagey experience to get the better of the super talented Mullet as McManus comes away for Mooroolbark. Long kick to full forward, but taking the mark back there is Sean Young, who immediately plays on, goes short here to Wong. Lincoln Wong off and running off his left foot. Good pass, and he finds Jackson. Noah Jackson wheels around now, drives the kick forward. Over the back, chance there for Oakley. Got the handball away to Grimer. Strong tackle applied, no free kick. Sean McManus for Mooroolbark takes possession. Very high kick looking for Fitzgerald. But Jackson was there in the prime position. And now Fitzgerald concedes a pretty needless free kick, a very obvious one as well. And so the ball will have to come back for Wantirna South.
And both teams have made the same mistake going into the forward 50. Into the breeze, kicking it high, and too easy to pick it off at the moment.
Was indeed, as Lincoln Wong drives it forward. Nice mark floating in from the back was Lee. Tim Lee wheels around, kick to full forward. No mark taken, ball on the deck. Walker fed it out over the back. That was good footy. Ward throws it on the boot, and he kicks a goal from the goal square. Finally, Wantirna South have their first of the day, and they trail by 21 points.
Yeah, and again, get the ball in quickly. Nice handball over the top, and player waiting there for an easy goal. So, it gives them confidence. And as I said, I thought they played the last 15 minutes of that first quarter pretty well, Wantirna South. I thought they moved the ball nicely, whereas I thought Mooroolbark probably gave up an advantage, and they could have got more on the scoreboard. A little bit wasteful with the way they brought the ball in the forward 50.
Let's go to our car sales boundary out of BWS.
Had my spies out at the Wantirna South huddle at quarter time as well. Obviously riding solo today, but going against the grain, the message from Steve Crocker, they want to use the grandstand side there, but they've used the opposite side of the ground. They've worked their way down and got a goal. He thought they were very scratchy in that first term. He wants them to be one-on-one when the ball's not on their terms.
Thanks, BWS, as Jackson applies the tackle there to Fitzgerald, and we'll have a ball up there edge of the centre square, straight off the centre bounce. 4-3-27 plays 1 straight 6. Mooroolbark leading by 21 points here. 2.5 minutes played in this second term. Wong takes that ball straight off the rucking contest, and Deans gets taken into the ground, and the ball will get taken back to the umpire.
I think they've had the advantage in the ruck Wanty South. They've got the bigger bodies there. They've just got to get down to the more advantage.
And looks like we've got a free kick going the way here of Mooroolbark. Looks like Thatcher's going to get it. And he'll take this one just shy of his half-back line, the far side of the ground. Swings around and puts it onto the right boot in towards centre wing. Little breeze effect that kick there. Tim Lee takes an uncontested mark. So that was Sean Young getting confused by all the man buns out there. Forgiven we're playing this game in Fitzroy. Here's the kick now up towards centre wing. Uncontested mark there for Thatcher. And he's got a Fitzroy-worthy beard as well. He puts this one onto the right. And uncontested mark there for Jason Fitzgerald. And hasn't got much on offer, so it looks like he's going to put this one long in towards the forward line now here for the Mustangs. Breeze affecting the kick. That one punched and out of play. We'll get a boundary throw in.
Well, I think surely both sides would have worked it out, and I think Wanty South did it in the first quarter. Going into this breeze, you've got to get space, a lot of 45, a lot of angles, open up the ground that way.
Dolan into the ruck now against Deans. It falls there for Leggett. Wong read it beautifully. Got a hand pass out and there, hit a Chrome. He spilled it. Mustangs trying to break it out of their defensive. Hands off to Pokinghorn. He pushes one off, fends one off, puts it onto the left. It goes goalward. Has it got the carry? Maybe not. Taking a one-handed mark nearly was Mullet, but he's won the free kick. And he was held there pretty clearly. Almost didn't need the other arm. And he's going to line up from 15 straight in front.
Pretty obvious free kick, that one. Real desperation, wasn't it, then, by David Lang when he saw the ball coming in. Just grab a hold of the arm and hope you get away with it.
So Mullet's kick 2 went off, injured in the end of that first quarter, but he's kicked 3 for the afternoon. Makes no mistake, straight through the middle. And as we said, his third goal of the afternoon. That's 43 on the year for Aaron Mullet. And it's Mooroolbark 5-3, leading Wantirna South. 1 straight 6. We've played 4 minutes on the Eastern scoreboard.
And that was Polkinghorn at his best there with the one-arm push-off and the lovely kick into the forward line. And look, you're a defender and you're one out and you're on the goal line, you're up against Mullet. I mean, you could see he just panicked by holding him. It was great work from Mullet, though, to be able to keep him out. You knew the ball was going to fall. He protected the drop zone. He was always going to get the footy anyway.
Umpire throws it up back in the middle. Handball came away from Deans. McManus puts his body over it now. Got a high one from Leggett. No free kick paid. Good strong tackle by Taylor Leggett. And is McManus making a genuine effort to get rid of it? The umpire says no. Says he was just acting really there on the ground, pretending to make an effort. So Leggett's kick, looking for Ward. Over the back, Troy Wright knocks it towards the boundary line and happy to take it over the line. 27-point lead for Mooroolbark. 1 goal apiece in this second quarter. We've gone nearly 6 minutes. Dan Sensic with some other scores around the EFL.
Yeah, some quarter-time scores in from Division 4. East Burwood 3-4-22, leading Coldstream 3-2-20. Sylvan 6-1-37, leading Forest Hill 5 straight 30. And Surrey Park 8-5-53. Croydon North Emlock yet to score.
That could get nasty, I think, that game.
Thumped out of the air there by Thatcher. High tackle on Polkinghorn then by Chrome. Or maybe not high, the umpire didn't think it was. So the umpire to ball it up here. Polkinghorn is feeling the effects of that tackle though from Chrome. A little bit sore as he gets up, but he quickly recovers. Gets it to Hager. Close to the boundary line, and again he tried to dodge around a couple of devils then. Matty Polkinghorn had nowhere to go, so
cross down.
Throw in on the boundary, which is where we find Ben Warren Smith.
I just want to talk about Matty Polkinghorn. How good is it coming and watching a star of his ilk? 32 years old. He's probably the favourite to take out his 5th best and fairest at Mooroolbark this year. He's an absolute superstar. Pure silk.
Well said. Yep. He's been a gun for this footy club for a very long time. Thatcher got it to Hager. Hager's intricate kick found Dolan. Dolan under pressure goes to ground. Good work there by Walker, got it to Rub. Slick handball off to Chrome. Chrome's kick's a pretty good one, gave his forwards a chance. Clearing kick by Chapman out into open space. The leading the race to it was Noah Jackson. Fitzgerald arrived on the scene though and managed to force it to the boundary line for a throw-in. So 27-point lead still for Mooroolbark.
They've got all the different haircuts here today.
Yeah.
Noah Jackson's got a reasonable mullet there, hasn't he?
That's an Eric Banner Poiter style mullet throwback to the 90s. Here's the kick now in towards the back line. Well taken at the back there by Wright, not paid. He goes by hand now down towards the boundary line, and the mark taken there by Fitzgerald. As he looks upfield for targets to hit, and he's only got one there, that being of Kennedy. And a gain of about 12 metres there on the far side of the ground as Mooroolbark trying to get out of their own back line. Here comes the kick off the right boot up towards centre wing. Barnard had the back spot, punched it over the top, trying to take that one just over the boundary line. Let's go boundary side to Ben Warren-Smith.
Well, standing on true centre wing position, and everybody's favourite barman in the eastern suburbs in the EFL is Rick Demetrio. And Rick, you're on the committee down here in Musaby. There's ladies' lunch as well, but the boys are playing really good footy at the moment, mate.
Playing very well at the moment, very well indeed. They seem to have a lot of run with the ball and a bit too quick for Wanty South, I think.
Your son's stepped up to the presidency this year, mate, so he gets to tell you what to do for once, but he's gallivanting around Europe for the last 2 months. Shout out to Scotty and Lauren.
Yeah, all the best to them. I hope they're having a good time, and I'm doing all his work. You're right.
Good on you, Rick.
Thanks, BWS. And we'll have another ball up just on centre wing. And in it comes. So that one beat Thatcher to it, just managed to get the fist onto it. As Young managed to try and force it forward. Wong goes in there for Wantirna South. Sockers that one forward about 10 metres. Almost picked up there by Jackson. He's met there by Fitzgerald. Did well, did Noah Jackson to get a handball out, but it went nowhere back, except back into Mustang's hand. Leggett, he goes in as well, and that's going to be a ball up, I would think. Yes, as players converge in the pack. A little bit of a wrestling match going on there between, I think, is that Jackson? No. Barnard now wins the tap down, and Leggett just ties it up, and we'll have another ball up.
Yeah, I think it was Daniel Crome, Steve, who loves that physical stuff around the footy. Enjoys it. So Thatcher with the big fist along the boundary and over. You know, Davo, just on Matty Polkinghorne, at 32 he may have lost a little bit of pace, but a bit like Ian Atkinson back in the day, pace was never what made him great, so it's not even really going to matter if he's not as quick as he once was.
I think the other thing about Polkinghorne that people forget, look, they will look at the fact that he runs and he carries and his use of the ball so good, and he's always had that tan and the good looks. I'll tell you what, he's one of the hardest players at the ball as well. That's the thing that used to always I admired about the way he went about his footy. He's so hard at the contest.
Taking possession now, short pass looking for Fitzgerald, almost threw it out, was effective though. Little quick kick goes forward now for Mooroolbark, who can get to it first. Good tackle there by Freeman to put the pressure on. Strong tackle there by Carney, and there's a little bit going on between Fitzgerald and Carney there. But the umpire right on the scene to adjudicate. Umpire throws it up. Handball was shot out then to Wong, who's been definitely one of the Devils' best in this first half. Wong's kick over the back. Oakley throws it on the boot now. The ball bounces around the boundary and over the boundary line for a throw-in.
Well, at the moment, it's definitely Mooroolbark's quarter because they've both scored a goal. And, Wanty South have now had it in their forward line a number of times, but just haven't been able to convert.
Musa for Mooroolbark, looking for Fitzgerald, and again the ball eludes him and over the boundary line.
Let's go to Dan Sensey quickly in the score centre.
In Division 1, Lilydale 6-3-39 leading up at Ferntree Gully 1-4-10, and Doncaster East have hit back early on in the second term 4-4-28 leading Bayswater 2-3-15.
Well, players crashing in then. Leggett finishes up with the ball, but he's strongly tackled by Musa. And it will be a ball up not too far from the goals here for Wantirna South. Thatcher thumped it out of the air. Wong goes to ground, strongly tackled.
He just needs more help at the moment, Wong. He seems to be the only player that's at the fall of the ball for Wanty South getting his hands onto it.
No one really won that tap. Thatcher throws it on the boot. Mulligeta, Shadow Mulligeta, strongly tackled. I'd like to see Walker in the action a bit more. Brent Walker. Notice he's sort of playing off behind the play a lot of the time and not really at the coalface. I think they need his brilliance more around the footy to give Wong a bit of a help, bit of a chop out. So Young there, involved once more.
Because the other thing about Walker is he's a goal-kicking midfielder as well, so get him more on the footy, and you know he'll kick his 1 or 2 every game.
Umpire throws it in. Thatcher palmed it down. Kick to is strongly marked there by Barnard. The man mountain, Matty Barnard, drives it forward, kicks to the pocket. No mark taken there, back there by Maxwell. Over the boundary line for another throw-in. Bit of a stalemate at the moment as we've hit the 13-minute mark of the second quarter here at Heights Reserve, with Mooroolbark leading by 27 points on the Eastland scoreboard.
And look, I think while they wanted to be kicking down this area, I think they're going too wide. They need to be going only the width of the point post and not going as wide into the pocket as what they have been.
So Thatcher wins the tap down, ball on the deck, socket away there by Maxwell, and it's gone straight back out over the boundary line for a boundary throw in roughly the same spot.
Otherwise, that's exactly what Mooroolbark can keep doing, is defending into that area, and they don't get any advantage out of it, Wantirna South.
That's a pretty good tray setup, I'll say that. Wonder whose living room that couch has come from. Is the kick now one straight off, a snap around the body there from Oakley, and that's going to go out of bounds on the full and into the tray of someone else's ute, which doesn't have a couch in it.
No, they've always been, I think both clubs have had their quite amazing setups at their home grounds. I remember Wantirna South used to have a hot tub brought in during the middle of winter on the back of a tray at Walker Reserve there.
Cross down.
During the years.
Let's go get boundary side to Ben Morris Smith.
Let's not forget they also had a roaming barbecue as well around in there for the away games.
Thanks, PWS, as that kick comes out of defence. Now hugging the boundary line. That's a shocking kick out on the bounce on the full. Let's go to Dan Sensick.
Division 3, Donvale 5-3-33, leading Glen Waverley Hawks 4-3-27, and the Waverley Blues 2-2-14, leading the Whitehorse Pioneers. No goals, 8 behinds.
Low scoring affair out there in Waverley. Jackson to bring the ball back in. He puts it onto the right boot, pumps it in towards the forward line now here for the Devils. They need a mark, and they've got one here through Oakley. Strong hands. He drags it down, and he'll line up from about 35 out.
That's a very nice mark in those conditions. Tough marking down that area, and this is a really nice mark. Poor defensive efforts, though. They didn't match up on him all that well then, and Mooroolbark coaching staff will be pretty annoyed.
So Oakley, his kick comes in, and he's kicked it. Second of the afternoon now here for Wantirna South. That's one they really needed. And they have 2 straight 12. They trail Mooroolbark's 5-3-33. 15 and a half gone now here on the Eastland scoreboard.
Yeah, look, they needed that. They, it's taken them 15 minutes to get the 2 goals. They need to get at least 1 or 2 more, and then they'll go in at half time and feel like they're still well within this game. Cannot afford to let Mooroolbark get a quick one in the counter-attack.
So 21-point lead for Mooroolbark, 5-3-33. Wantirna South 2 goals, and boy did they need that last goal for the Devils. So back in the middle, Thatcher wins the tap. Strong tackle there by Leggett on McManus. Play on, the umpire says, long kick deep into the forward line, fisted through for a minor score. And just one behind added to the score for Wantirna South, 2-2-14. Mooroolbark 5-3-33.
That's where it's difficult with the breeze like that, is when you come forward, is where do you actually put the ball to make it dangerous? And it has to be nearly 5 metres in front of the goal square, not at the goal square, because too easy to defend with that breeze.
So Kennedy to bring the ball back in. Kennedy's kick, Troy Wright, no mark. Dobie there, who has been a lot quieter in this second term. Quick kick, comes forward again. Lee for Wantirna South tried to feed it out then to Carney. McManus with the handball, got it to Chapman. He lost a handle on the footy. Close to the boundary line here, and there's so many players around the ball. Nobody can get a clean disposal away. So it'll be a ball up. Yeah, no, so it didn't quite cross the boundary line. So ball up just inside the field of play. Thatcher paddles it nicely to McManus. Sean McManus's kick, hugging the boundary. Dobie tried to get to the ball, and Greg there was interfered with, or he says he was interfered with. And he's He's ripped the mouthguard out to have a few words, but I'm not sure if
down.
Yeah, he hasn't got the free kick. So let's cross to Ben Warren-Smith.
Had a score come in from Zerby's reserve, Doncaster East up by 13 points halfway through the second.
Grab some hot food here, BWS, while it's hot, if you like. That's just arrived in our caravan from the generous people here at Heights Reserve. Leggett's little handball to McIntyre. McIntyre's kick to the top of the square, and it was fisted not through for a behind, but just over the boundary line alongside the behind post.
Now that was a smart kick to the right area. Just unfortunate they weren't able to take advantage of it.
So in comes the boundary thrown. Deans v Thatcher in the ruck. Deans takes it straight off the ruck, but taken straight away from him, and the Mustangs trying to get out of their own defensive half of the ground. Dobie shakes one tackle, gets a handball out, and the Mustangs are away up towards centre wing. The kick just grubbers along the ground, picked up there by Harris. He swings around, puts it on to the right, chips it over the top, evading one tackle and more is Billy Batten. He sends the footy now here to Pokinghorn, who's got time and space in the centre of the ground, just chips one over the top in towards half forward. Well, a couple of Wantirna South players collided and spoiled their own mark. Good tackle applied there by Sutherland, and we'll have a ball up as under all of that is Blake Walker. And as we approach 19 minutes played here in this second term, 5-3-33, Mooroolbark leading Wantirna South 2-1-13. Here's the handball out there to Hager as a good strong tackle applied through it. There did Jaden Raab, and winning the free kick there is Billy Batten, and he's going to line up directly in front, about 40 out, and a chance to kick Mooroolbark's sixth.
Have a look for him to either hand off this or might even look for a short pass, because this could be it's a fairly decent kick, this one.
So Batten hasn't kicked one all year, so looking for goal number 1 here for season 2019. Puts it on the left, gives it a fair old shake. It's not going to have the accuracy though, and it's out of bounds on the full. And we'll have a free kick here going towards Daniel Crome for Wantirna South. Here in the back pocket, he's looking to bring this one in. 2-1-13, they trail Mooroolbark 5-3-33. Here's the kick up now. Target is Deans. Plenty of players flying in over the top now. Shedder Mulligeta can't take it cleanly. Just provides the Shepherd now here to pick it up for Reece Chapman. He's slung to the ground in a tackle, and yes, the umpire said he was slung indeed. He's got himself a free kick now on the half-forward line. His short kick, well, it was brilliantly read, and Wantirna South turned the corner, and quick hands out towards Barnard. Long hand pass there. Grimer had to be quick. So did Greg. He was taken down. Thatcher with one arm and one leg, missed both of them. And tackle there was Musa, and we'll have a ball up on the edge of the centre square.
Well, that was, I think both sides about twice had the opportunity to really get out there and missed both opportunities.
20-point lead for Mooroolbark. Crome did well, got it to Wong. Wong's sweeping handball looking for Raab. Strong tackle applied then by Henry. And Tyson Henry showing good appetite for the contest in his first game.
Well, that was pretty tough. We could hear the hits in the caravan, and that was some solid play.
We had a front row seat for all the action then as Polkinghorn drives it forward. And the mark safely taken back there by Sean Young. So Young weighs up his options, doesn't waste too much time. Pretty good kick. Got to Greg on the half volley though. Carney did well, shared it with Jackson. Jackson's kick into open space. Lang drives it forward, but it was a real awkward kick there. Didn't give Oakley much chance at all, and a spectacular exit from the arena for Damon Oakley. No harm done though. So boundary throwing in front of the scoreboard there. You can see the Eastland scoreboard here at Heights Reserve, which shows the Mustangs leading by 20 points. Wong immediately wrapped up in the tackle.
Let's go quickly to Dan Sensic in the score centre.
Yeah, in Premier Division, Vermont 5-8-38 leading Noble Park, no score.
Thatcher won the tap. Quick kick around the corner by Jackson. Slick handball came out from Greg. McManus shared it with Chapman. Sweeping handball to Wright. Troy Wright has a bounce, then goes short. Kick was a tough one really for Sutherland. Nice work then from Henry to not give the free kick away, but still managed to force the ball up and he did that well then, Tyson Henry. So umpire to throw it up. Barnard won the tap. Crome takes possession. Clever little intricate kick was effective. He got it to Leggett. And Taylor Leggett, who's usually a very good user of the ball, doesn't waste the footy too often. Kicks down the line this time. Hits Grimer on the chest. Luke Grimer wheels around now. Nice kick as well. He hits McIntyre on the chest. Sam McIntyre, late inclusion for Luke Williams this afternoon. McIntyre's short pass, a good one. And he's found Carney. So Dalen Carney, hard up against the boundary line. Very short kick, hugged the boundary with that pass.
That's an outstanding kick, isn't it? Yep. I thought that was out of bounds all the way, but he's managed that. That is literally centimetre perfect.
Yeah, he threaded the needle perfectly then, and it had to be because the boundary line was right there. But he found Grimer. So Grimer, tough angle though to kick the goal from. His kick drifts across the face of goal, and Mooroolbark here content to force a rush behind. Not a bad result in the end for them.
Cold, that's all.
And I think probably again they went too wide. You know, they're just a little bit over putting themselves in the wrong position. Wanting South too many times going to this end.
So here's the kick out of defence, almost taken there by Dolan for Mooroolbark, but they get the footy back off the deck. Now Polkinghorn, his hand pass over the top, back to Dolan, stops, props, puts it onto the right boot, tries to centre the footy. Well read though there by Ward, as Wantirna South almost intercepted the footy, though they do so this time successfully, and that's Castricum there on the edge of the centre square. Puts a high up and under kick off the right boot in towards the direction there of Oakley. He couldn't drag it down. Looking for the footy now, here is Leggett. He gets a hand pass out over the top. Here comes a kick, brilliantly smothered as it pulls back now here to Ward. As Oakley, he gets wrapped up in the tackle, and Bally Batten with a great tackle there in defence, and we'll have a ball up.
Tell you what, I reckon there'll be a few sore boys at half time, because it has been a very physical game.
Indeed it has. Barnard now won that tap just marginally, and we'll have another ball up as the ball is under a sea of players. So 5-3-33, it leads 2-2-14. Wantirna South trailing here by 19 points. 25 minutes gone now here in this second term. Polkinghorn did well to spin out of that tackle. Eventually tackled there by Leggett. We'll have another ball up.
And Davo, it's been pretty much exactly as you said in the pre-match. It's quite a big ground, and yet there doesn't seem to be much space for anybody. It's very congested, despite what would seem to be available space.
Yeah, I think neither side's willing to go through the middle at this stage, so that probably is the reason why they just keep going down the edges all the time. Obviously not willing to... you would think with the breeze you could open it up a little bit easier and go through the middle.
So Young drives the kick forward, and there's a good mark taken then by Oakley at the back. So he's just judged that to perfection. The kick from Young came in. There was plenty of players around the ball, and it carried over their heads. Somehow landed in the hands of Oakley. So Damon Oakley started the game in defence. He's gone forward in this second term, and has kicked one goal. This for his second. Oakley's kick drifts. I thought it drifted across the face, but I think he's just snuck it in. And he has got the goal, so good result there for Wantirna South. Oakley has his second, the Devils have their third, and they trail now by just 13 points.
Well, that's a really important goal. We now get to the stage where we're 26 and a half minutes into the second quarter. Crucial goal, and this is a crucial, I suppose, bounce up here, because if either side gets a clearance and gets an opportunity to score, could really break the game open for either side.
So we approach 27 minutes played here in term number 2. Trying to win that footy out there at Mooroolbark. They get the kick up now here through Fitzgerald and towards half forward. Breeze affected that kick rather dramatically. Polkinghorn now, he gets wrapped up, gets a handball away. Batten went searching for it. Taken off the deck there, good hands from Carney. And Wong's kick, we've got a free kick now going here towards the Devils. Advantage paid now, maybe not, as Raab was looking to proceed things downfield, but it's it's going to come back. Well, it's not going to matter though, because there is the halftime siren where it is Mooroolbark 5-3-33 leading Wantirna South 3-2-20. Goal kickers for Mooroolbark, 3 to Aaron Mullett, 1 to Ben Dolan, 1 to Braden Dobie, and for Wantirna South a pair to Damon Oakley and 1 to Fergus Ward. Well, make sure you tune in on the other side of this break for the EFL Game Day halftime show. We'll bring you Clint Stanaway in the 9 newsroom as well. But we'll be back just after this on 1377 SEN+.
SEN Footy streaming live and...
Clint's off, so get hold of Corey Norris at the moment, but I'll let you know.
Home final down the hot.
Play 2 home games.
I've just got a landline that I've just been trying to dial.
This is crystal clear. We would like 11 home games at GMHBA.
Yeah, that'd be great if you could, yep.
Monday from 9.
Powered by a 100% Australian electricity and gas retailer. That's Red Energy. Switch today. Exceptional.
I'm here.
X-Range at Doncaster BMW.
Hello. Frank Walker from National Tiles. National Tiles now supply...
Thank you, I'll give him a call now.
Flooring. Yes, National Tiles do it all for you. Measure, quote, supply and install. All National Tiles timber, laminate and hybrid flooring. From just $1,300 fully installed for an average 26 square metre laminate living room floor, fully supplied and installed. Only at National Tiles.
The 2019 Toyota AFL season is really hotting up, so don't miss your exclusive Round 17 AFL record, featuring teams, stats and facts in your expanded matchday section. In this week's record, we celebrate Heath Shaw's rapidly approaching 300th game. Ashley Brown speaks to one of footy's quirky characters. And exclusive each week, how your team rates according to the stats. Don't forget to grab your AFL record this weekend, still just $5. Thanks to Karcher, the official 2019 partner of the AFL record.
Stock up on soup, pull out your woolly footy scarf and suspend your gym membership. Now you're all set to survive the chilly season. It's time to get the whole house prepped by hooking up your cooking, hot water and heat with natural gas. Getting gas in every room is easy, and with our rebates it's often free. So grab your hot chockey, settle into your cosy cocoon and love winter. Search Australian gas networks to find out how much you could save.
Wouldn't it be nice to have a robot at home to mow your lawn and wash the car? At least you've got Robot Building Supplies at work. Steel, sleepers, wire mesh, timber, roofing and more. Robot's got it at the lowest prices, like square and round tubing in Prime and Gal. Starting from $14.70 for 20 by 20 by 1.6 Prime tube 6.5 metres long. Robot, Notting Hill, Sunshine, Preston, Dramana, Pakenham, Coldstream and Darnham. Call 1300-GO-ROBOT or order at robotbuildingsupplies.com.au.
ROBOT Robot Building Supplies.
You can't get a Rolex for $100, and there's no way you'd get a brand new Ferrari for a couple of grand. We all know you get what you pay for. The same is true with pressure clean.
Okay, we've got Corey. Just give him a couple of minutes to get some stuff ready. You there, guys?
Yep, got it.
Yep, so just give him a couple of minutes. What I'll do is I'll tell you down the line he's ready to go. But I've just got him on hold. He's just getting some stuff together, all right?
Yeah, no worries.
So I'll just go like this. I'll say, Corey's ready. That's what I'll say. Corey's ready, all right?
Yep, got it.
Back on in 1 minute.
Buy 3 and get 1 free on a great range of Falcon Wild Peak 4-wheel drive tyres. Plus more best buys on big brands at Tyre Power. CanStar Blues Customer Satisfaction Award winner again. Tyre Power's best buys on big brand sale is on now. Visit tyrepower.com.au to view or call 13 21 91 for your local owner operator.
When you pull your socks up each morning, pull up a pair of all-day socks by Underworks. The cushioned sole is like walking on clouds. Plus, there's no annoying elastic or ugly red marks. All-day socks by Underworks. So comfy you'll chuck all your other socks out. Available at all leading retailers.
Impress clients, friends and colleagues with a premium experience at the MCG. Whether it's your own private suite or a table in a premium space, enjoy award-winning catering and premium beverages.
All right, guys, 10 seconds.
.au/premium.
SEN Footy streaming live and exclusively on the all-new SEN app.
Let's head back and go local.
Okay, here we go. Mike's on. Go for it.
You're listening to 1377 SEN Plus. It's EFL game day out here from Heights Reserve in Mooroolbark. We're at half-time. It's Mooroolbark 5-3-33 leading Wantirna South 3-2-20. Goal kickers from Mooroolbark, Aaron Mullett with 3, Ben Dolan and Braden Dobie with 1. And for Wantirna South, Damon Oakley with a pair and Fergus Ward with 1. Bit of special comments joining us here this afternoon. Wayne Brescia.
Special, I think. Thank you, Steve. Look, you know, this game really is being dominated by the ground and the wind. I think both sides are losing their structure very, very easily, and the wind's not doing any favours. I thought in the first quarter, the way that Mooroolbark played down the middle of the ground and they opened it up for Aaron Mullett was very good. But you knew then in the second quarter they were going to play that far side to try and protect that lead. Sometimes when you play a game like that, you're letting the opposition back in, you're letting them back in on their terms. I thought Wantirna South in the second quarter very scratchy after that first quarter. I sort of feel that they sort of willed themselves back into the contest a little bit. Instead to start to feel the ball around on their terms. And look, they're still right in this contest. They just need to open their eyes a little bit when they're moving forward and try and isolate a key forward.
Well, just hold that thought, Brash, because we're going to go to Corey Norris in the 9 newsroom with all the headlines.
Oh, very good afternoon to you. Just a couple of footy games today. We'll start with the one at the MCG, and Richmond have a fairly handy lead over Port Adelaide early in the third term. Jack Riewoldt doing some pretty good things up forward. He's kicked 3 goals. And at Marvel Stadium, Carlton up by 19 points over Gold Coast nearing half-time. Also in 9 News tonight at 6, an Australian man, the son of a senior New South Wales policeman, and his American girlfriend shot dead on a remote Canadian highway. This is just a tragic story. 2 dangerous dogs are roaming free after a Cranbourne woman was savaged. A teenage boy and an elderly man are fighting for life after they were hit by buses in Doreen and Menzies Creek. A man and woman have been charged over an ugly fight at the Crows Essendon match at Adelaide Oval. And Donald Trump has met with former astronauts in the Oval Office to mark the 50th anniversary of the moon landing. That's all coming up tonight. 9 News at 6.
Thanks, Corey. Corey in the 9 newsroom there. Brash, what have Wantirna South got to do to get them back in this game?
Well, look, I think in this quarter they've got to play positive football, and what Steve Cochran wanted from them in that first quarter was he wanted them to play this side of the ground when he was attacking, because as you could see, Steve, over that far side, when the ball was kicked with any sort of height, it was just donkey dropping. And actually the ball was actually going back in negative yards. I think that the key to this game really in the second half is which side is going to use the conditions better, and I think it might come down to a lot of point-to-point ground play, kicking the ball, keeping it low, but honouring the lead, especially along this side of the ground.
Yep. So we might cross to Dan Sensick shortly in the Score Centre for some half-time scores from around the Eastern Football League. 18 games across the EFL as you go local for your footy, Dan.
Yeah, in Premier Division, Blackburn 7-6-48 leading Doncaster 6-4-40. Norwood 6-8-44 over Rowville 1-2-8 at half-time. Gee, that's massive, isn't it? And in Division 1, Doncaster East 7-5-47 leading Bayswater 5-3-33. East Ringwood 6-3-39 leading Croydon 3-4-22. In Division 3, Waverley Blues 5-4-34 leading Whitehorse 8 behinds. And in Division 4, Coldstream 6-4-40 leading East Burwood at half-time 5-7-37. Forest Hill 5-2-32 trailing Sylvan 9-6-60.
Thanks, Dan. Some interesting scores coming in from across the
Most
Eastern
definitely.
Football League. And don't forget, keep those scores coming in at Footy EFL. We'll take a short break here on 1377 SEN Plus, and on the other side, we'll bring you quarter number 3 between Mooroolbark and Wantirna South here on EFL Game Day.
SEN Footy streaming
Clear 4 minutes.
in app.
The Cricket World Cup Finals.
Victory for England, they are world champions.
The State of Origin decider.
He scored the try. They have stolen New South Wales in one of the most remarkable finishes.
And every big footy moment.
Elliott gathers against the boundary, open the goal front up and snap it through.
You'll hear it live on SEN and the SEN app. For race gutters, Australian made, built to last. And On Deck small business loans, approved in hours. OnDeck.com.au.
The senior coach has taken the team to Eastland for a post-game feed. If only they had this kind of teamwork on the field. They've just ordered starters to share, plus frothies for the whole table. And now Steve-O's chucked a prawn to Macca. He circled back. Yes! Straight into his pie hole. Yo, beauty! Good form, boys. For all of life and footy's little moments, there's Eastland. Proud sponsors of the EFL. Eastland. Live real.
After a new Honda and looking for the number one deal, then come to the number one selling dealer, Astoria Honda Brighton on the Nepean Highway. Hi, Gordon Rose for the Astoria team, and we have big stocks of Honda cars looking to find a new home. What about yours? The Astoria Honda name has been around for over 50 years, stood the test of time, and we want to be your number one choice when buying a new Honda or quality pre-owned vehicle. We need good trade-ins. Astoria Honda Brighton, Melbourne's home of Honda. Who says bigger isn't better? LMCT 10901.
Hello. The biggest selling tile in Australia is 600 by 300 gloss white. And National Tiles is by far the biggest seller of these tiles in Australia. Why? It's simple. The average selling price is over $20 per metre, and National Tiles price is just $9.95 every day of the year. That's just one example of National Tiles' absolutely unbeatable everyday low prices on wall and floor tiles. So rush into National Tiles now and save.
Stock up on soup, pull out your woolly footy scarf, and suspend your gym membership. Now you're all set to survive the chilly season. It's time to get the whole house prepped by hooking up your cooking, hot water and heat with natural gas. Getting gas in every room is easy, and with our rebates it's often free. So grab your hot chockey, settle into your cosy cocoon and love winter. Search Australian gas networks to find out how much you could save.
You know, I couldn't do my job without my robot.
Thank you for saying that.
Because from the stumps to the roof, Robot's got it.
Robots got it.
The toughest materials at the lowest prices.
Robots got it.
Steel, sleepers, wire mesh, timber, roofing.
Robots got everything you could ever need.
You know what? For a robot, you're a good bloke. Head to Notting Hill, Sunshine, Preston, Dromana, Pakenham, Coldstream and Darnham. Call 1300-GO-ROBOT or order at robotbuildingsupplies.com.au.
ROBOT, Robot Building Supplies.
The 2019 Toyota AFL season is really hotting up, so don't miss your exclusive Round 17 AFL record, featuring teams, stats and facts in your expanded matchday section. In this week's record, we celebrate Heath Shaw's rapidly approaching 300th game. Ashley Brown speaks to one of footy's quirky characters. And exclusive each week, how your team rates according to the stats. Don't forget to grab your AFL record this weekend, still just $5. Thanks to Karch.
Coming up, Kins.
Bucks, and there's no way you'd get a brand new Ferrari for a couple of grand. We all know you get what you pay for. The same is true with pressure cleaners. Cheap foreign imports lack reliable muscle, but Spitwater pressure cleaners are strong, powerful and built to last. So avoid the fakes and get a pressure cleaner that's Aussie made for tough Aussie conditions. Get a Spitwater. Call 1300 Spitwater.
10.
Spitwater. That's what it does.
SEN Footy streaming live and exclusively on the all-new SEN app.
Okay, here we go. Putting mics on. And go.
You're listening to 1377 SEN Plus. It's EFL game day out here at Heights Reserve between Mooroolbark and Wantirna South. At half-time, Mooroolbark 5-3-33, lead Wantirna South 3-2-20 in this Division 1 clash. 18 games across the Eastern Football League as you go local for your footy. You might cross shortly to Dan Tedzik for some more scores around the Eastern Football League. But don't forget to stay tuned all throughout this afternoon. 5 o'clock we'll bring you the EFL post-game show, as we'll bring you all the scores and results from around the Eastern Football League this afternoon as you drive home from the various grounds. And don't forget tomorrow also, EFL Sunday from 10 o'clock here on 1377 SEN Plus. We'll bring you all the scores, the results and some of the chat with some of the coaches from around the EFL. Dan, we have some scores coming in.
Division Blackburn 7-6-48 leading Doncaster 6-4-40. Rover 1-2-8 trailing Norwood 6-8. Division 1 Lilydale 11-4-70 smashing Upper Ferntree Gully 3-7-25. Doncaster 7 47, leading Bayswater 5-3-33. Knox trailing Park Orchards at halftime 5-3-33 to 5-10-40. And Croydon 3-4-22 trailing East Ringwood 6-3-39. Mulgrave in Division 2 8-10-58, leading Templestowe at halftime 8-6-54. In Division 3, Glen Waverley Hawks 4-5-29 trailing Donvale 6-3-39. And Warrandyte 2-3-15 trailing South Belgrave 9-4-58. Waverley Blues 5-4-34. Whitehorse Pioneers 8 behinds. And in Division 4, Coldstream 6-4-40, leading East Burwood 5-7-37. Forest Hill 5-2-32. Sylvan 9-6-60.
Thanks, Dan. Some very interesting scores unfolding across the Eastern Football League this afternoon, and will keep us posted at Footy EFL. Keep those scores coming in. And we're about to get underway now here for term number 3 between Mooroolbark and Wantirna South. To bring us in, Brad Henderson.
Oh, thanks very much, Steve. 13-point lead for Mooroolbark going into this third quarter. 5 goals, 33 to Wantirna South, 3-20 on the Eastland scoreboard. And in that second term, the Devils kicked 3 goals, 2 to Mooroolbark's 1 straight goal. That was all that Mustangs managed to put together in that second term, was just that 1 goal kicked by Aaron Mullett, his 3rd of the day.
Well, that's unusual. They actually started with more players on the ground than Wantirna South. They had to take a player off the ground very, very quickly before the sirens started.
Okay, a bit of confusion to start off with. Strong tackle there by James McManus. And him and Polkinghorn there at the bottom of the deck, getting back on their feet. Both were terrific in that first half for Mooroolbark. Knocked away by Barnard. Roth there overran the footy. Good tackle on Carney. And Carney, more just a token effort than anything to give the umpire the impression that he was trying to get rid of the ball, but there was no prior opportunity in any case. Thatcher got it down to McManus. McManus has kicked to the wing position. Dolan attacked the footy, got the little handball away to Musa. The kick tumbles forward alongside the boundary line. Aaron Mullett does well, works his opponent out of the contest. Mullett puts it on the boot, tried to dribble it through. And Walker there went with the soccer kick off the ground. Brent Walker pretty happy to rush it through for a minor score. So 5-4-34 now, Mooroolbark, Wantirna South 3-2-20 on the Eastland scoreboard.
Yeah, it's just as well it rebounded into the points, because it could have been an ugly one and gone out of bounds on the full, that one.
So Wong tries to get the ball off Fitzgerald there. Strong tackle applied. Leggett goes off the ground as well. Here's Young, and he goes to ground. And I thought play was going to be stopped, but it wasn't. It will be now, as Chrome has nowhere to go except into the arms there of Thatcher, and a strong tackle will have a ball up. Far side of the ground, about 60 out here from the Mooroolbark goal. Over the top there was Dolan off the rucking contest. The kick though won by Wantirna South, and that's going to be out on the full, I think, as Thatcher couldn't get to it. And we'll have, I think, a free kick going the way here of, oh no, actually looked like it just was touched, I think, off the boot. So boundary throw in, dead centre wing. Barnard into the ruck v Thatcher. And Barnard wins that one off the ground, though. Go Mooroolbark as the kick in towards the half forward line. Almost held without there. It's breaking through that pack. There was Jackson. Here's a kick now. Just moved past him. Mooroolbark get it out now here to Chapman. His kick now up towards the half forward line, and so it's all Wantirna South, and an uncontested mark there by Tim Lee. And
again, those just kick and hope kicks, both sides, both ends, are not helping either team. And
well, that kick was a bit of a poor one, as it went out of the reach of Daniel Crome and over the boundary line.
Yeah, look, it's difficult in these conditions. The breeze is having an impact on the way they use the footy, but Wantirna South showed that if you lower your eyes and short kick, you can work the ball into the breeze quite easily.
So Barnard just won it off the rocking contest, got the big right boot onto it. It travelled about 40 metres. Bursting through there was Carney. His hand pass almost went into the arms of Diamond there for Mooroolbark, but it's kicked back towards the half forward line. Great tackle applied there by Billy Batten. He's been in the thick of it all game, and going hard into the deck there is David Lang. He's got a free kick. The umpire said he was slung, and looks to be okay.
And look, technically he was correct. It was a great tackle, but because he had both arms pinned and his last movement was that sling movement, you can see why the free kick's given away.
So Lang, short stabbing pass. Oh, it was read brilliantly there by Sutherland. And he's won the mark, and down rather gingerly was Carney, and 25 as well.
Against Leggett for entering the protected area,
It was actually smart play then by Sutherland, because he deliberately held the ball and made it look like he was going to play on, and Leggett then naturally went to the area that he did. So clever play, that one.
So Carney's holding his arm there for Wantirna South. Was being directed off. Looks like he's going to stay out. But we'll keep an eye on him to see if he'll leave the park. Looks like he's leaving now. But Sutherland now lining up here for Mooroolbark. He's kicked 4 on the year so far. Could this be number 5? May not have the journey. It's congested goal square. Over the top went Mullet. Rushed through, though, for a behind by McIntyre. And just the minor score there for Mooroolbark. 5-5-35. They lead Wantirna South. 3-2-20. 4.5 gone on the Eastland scoreboard.
I'd say it's his wrist, this young boy, the way he's holding him.
Yep.
So Brent Walker to bring the ball back in and wants someone to kick to. He'll go to the outer side, scoreboard side of Heights Reserve. Big fly came from Deans, but a good mark taken by Wright. And as I've mentioned earlier, he just judges the ball so well in the air. And he did so again there, Troy Wright. So drives the kick forward. Terrible kick though. It was all Wantirna South back there. Walker reading it nicely. Had that kick well scouted. And Brent Walker goes short to Wong. Lincoln Wong, the number 1 Guernsey for the Devils. High up and under kick. No mark taken. Handball fed out. This is promising build up. Leggett bumped off it by Thatcher. Ward got a handball away. McManus did really well through heavy traffic. Big Barnard there tries to take possession and headed straight for the boundary line. No other intention other than to try and force it over, and as a result the free kick's gone the way of Mooroolbark. It'll go to Troy Wright once more. So Wright in those distinctive sort of purple or dark blue boots kicks to the pocket. Slick handball by Blake Walker. Leggett there opposed to Batten, unable to keep the ball in play.
Well, I think they'd be really disappointed, Mooroolbark, the way they're moving the ball into the forward line. No system, just kicking into an area and just hoping at the moment.
Barnard palmed it down beautifully then to Wong. Wong's kick, though, almost marked by Chapman. Clever handball to Ashedu Mulugeta onto Diamond, and then Kennedy throws the ball on the boot. Kennedy's kick, though, was well chopped off back there by David Lang, who's made a good recovery from that strong tackle he suffered just a couple of minutes ago.
And ball out over the boundary line. Let's go to Dan Sensick in the score centre.
In Division 4 at half-time, Surrey Park 13-7-85, leading Croydon North M-Lock 2 straight 12.
Thanks, Dan, as the boundary throw-in comes back in. Barnard and Thatcher. Barnard wins the tap. Wong couldn't gather it in. Players converged. Going in there as Watkins for Mooroolbark. Is picked up now there by McManus. His handball over the top. Will push there maybe of Leggett in the back. And that's going to go over the boundary line for a boundary throw-in. 5-5-35 leads Wantirna South 3-2-20. 7 and a bit gone here in term number 3. And our EFL match of the day. Streaming live also across the globe on efl.org.au as the Noah Jackson was tackled strongly there by Lockie Sutherland, and we'll get a ball up. Excuse me, that's Steve Watkins.
I think Wantirna South to be really happy at the moment because Mooroolbark haven't looked like scoring really in this first 7 minutes. So at this stage, it's a real win for the Wantirna South team, and if they can happen to kick one against the flow of play, then suddenly they're right back in this game.
So we'll have a boundary throw in just on the half forward line. Here for Mooroolbark, Barnard and Thatcher again. Thatcher wins the tap. It's read brilliantly, though, off the ruck. Here's Jackson with the footy, puts it onto the right boot as he was tackled. Intended target there was Grimer, but well short of him, and just escorted over the boundary line there by Shane Kennedy. Let's go down to our boundary line for car sales.
Just been lurking around the Wantirna South bench, and Dalen Carney, who came off the ground there, seems like he might have pinched a nerve in his left forearm at the moment. He's in a fair old bit of pain. I'm not expecting him to come back, whereas Roth from Mooroolbark, he came off a bit ginger, needed a bit of a stretch, needed a bit of a touch-up. He'll come back on soon.
Thanks, BWS, as that kick now up by Walker in the direction there at Grimer, went back over the top, and Tyson Henry just punches the ball over the boundary line. We'll have a boundary throw in on true centre wing position, far side of the ground, with approaching 9 minutes gone here in this third term. Barnard over the top with the spoil, well read there by Wong off the ruck. His kick now up towards the half-forward line, evades Kennedy, but Grimer just sees it over the boundary line for a boundary throw-in.
The one thing Wantirna South would be really happy about at the moment is that they are winning the clearances hands down in this quarter. Their ability to get their hand on the footy here has been really, really good.
So Barnard against Thatcher. Barnard won the tap to Ward. Ward throws the ball on the boot, almost marked back there by Sean McManus, strongly tackled. Handball smothered from the hands of Diamond. On the deck, they dive in and force a ball up. About 4 or 5 players with their hands on the footy then on the ground. So it's very congested at the moment. 15-point lead to Mooroolbark. Thatcher palmed it down nicely to Kennedy. High up and under kick. Batten takes possession, a little bit slow to get hand to the ball that time. Umpire says play on. Kicked forward by Dolan, almost marked by Hager, does well, kept his feet nicely. Seemed to be thrown to the ground by Freeman, and certainly played for a free kick then, Paul Hager. Didn't receive it though from the umpire, and maybe a bit unlucky. So the umpire tosses it up once more. Jake Deans won the tap. Polkinghorn throws it on the boot, but there's nobody back there other than Sean Young for Wantirna South, who clears for the Devils once more. Finds Brent Walker. Walker's just nudges the ball sideways to Lee, to Freeman, I should say. Jackson Freeman spent last year at Donvale, back at Wantirna South this year. And they haven't really got much run from him today, Davo. Jackson Freeman hasn't. He usually gives plenty of drive out of defence, but he's had a pretty quiet afternoon.
He has. He's. You're right. He's just tended to stay back in that one area. And look, Wanty South will be really happy at the moment with the way they're playing, and they've got an opportunity here now.
With Greg, Lockie Gregg fires at the goals. It's an open goal square, but the ball just trickles across the face of goal. And here's the charge of the Light Brigade hunting down the footy. It was Diamond who got to it first. McIntyre takes possession. Well wrapped up there by Maxwell. And they all converged on him very quickly, so it'll be a ball up. But it's deep in the forward line here for Wantirna South, who trail by 15 points on the Eastland scoreboard.
As Dean's uncontested, takes it straight off the ruck, puts a shot on goal. It's got the carry but not the accuracy, and doesn't even make it over the goal line as the fist came in there. As Grimer now trying to pick the ball up here for Wanty South. Arriving there also is Wright for Mooroolbark. Neither of them can win it. It comes off, kicked right into the point post, out of bounds on the full, and Kennedy will take the free kick. Let's go to Dan Sensick in the score centre.
In Premier Division at half-time, Vermont 9-11-65, leading Noble Park 4-2-26.
Thanks, Dan. As that long probing kick out towards the half-back line taken here by I think that's Watkins, as they kick now up towards the half-forward line. Just evades a couple of players, and Harris being one of them, and over it goes. So 12 minutes gone now here in this third term out here at Heights Reserve in Mooroolbark. 5-5-35 to 3-2-20. 15-point margin here to the Mustangs. You can hear the sighs of approval there from Brett Davidson. You might want to close your mic off there, mate. But anyway, it's all good as that tackle came in as Sutherland gets wrapped up.
It's not 48 hot jam donuts, but it's nearly as good.
I tried, there was only 2 left.
When are we going back to Coldstream? No, it's this big tackle there from Batten, and it goes over the boundary line. And a little bit extra after as well, as Tice Leggett getting into it. But umpire says leave it alone. Well, some other players don't want to, particularly Sean Young and Chapman, and fair bit of jumper measuring going on there as Dolan's involved, but looks like it's broken up. And we've got a yellow card. Is that Billy Batten going off, I think?
It is Billy Batten.
Yeah. So they're going to be one player down for the next 10 minutes. It's a bit undisciplined there from the Mustangs. Look like Lincoln Wong's going to take the free kick. Just on the half back line. 13:23 played. So it looks like it's going to be McManus to come on here for Batten. So didn't see he must have been the main instigator there, but couldn't see a punch being thrown or anything there, but there's a few players
he looked pretty feisty in that whole exchange, but I didn't see what specifically we got the yellow card for.
So we've got another whistle. Looks like Wong's going to have to take that kick again. Probably got to play it down behind. I think that's Sutherland. Looks like it's been 25 as well, so the kick's coming down now here to centre wing, and it's going to be taken here by Brent Walker for Wantirna South. As the sun in his eyes, just shadows coming across the ground now here at Heights Reserve. Here's the kick in towards the half-forward line, and it's taken there by Jaden Raab. Tries to centre the footy. Well, that was about 3 metres. Yeah. I don't think that was the required distance as Walker takes it right back. And he puts it onto the right boot. It's a short, low kick, and just punched there by Thatcher. Trying to take it was Dobie. And I think we've got a free kick here going the way of Mooroolbark. It's going to go to Chapman here on the half-back line for the Mustangs.
They've got to start to get some run and carried, Mooroolbark, and maybe by switching like they have done now, they might be able to do it.
Yeah, Chapman switched to this side to Sean McManus, to the broadcast side. Nice kick to Hager. Paul Hager, left footer, usually very damaging by foot. A bit of an up and under kick this time to half forward. Nicely marked back there by Tim Lee. I always think, gee, looks good in defence, Tim Lee. I know it's handy to send him forward, but he just reads the play so well in the back line. And he shares it with Leggett. Now, Leggett goes laterally. It's a poor kick, chopped off by Dobie. Dobie's kick finds Polkinghorne in space. And good man to have the ball in the hands of here. Matt Polkinghorne to go back and line up for his first of the day. Hasn't kicked a goal today despite having plenty of the footy.
Yeah, unusual from Taylor Leggett, who's usually a very good user of the footy. That was a poor kick, and see what...
Polkinghorne's kick drifts across the face of goal. It was a real sort of laid back sort of kick. He sat right back on it then, Polkinghorne, and very high kick, and it was just off to the right. So minus score. Mooroolbark 5-6-36, Wantirna South 3-20. As we go to Dan Sensit with some more scores.
In Division 1, Doncaster East 8-6-54, leading Bayswater 5-4-34, 10 minutes into the third term.
Thank you, Dan. The kick to the outer side there. It's Polkinghorne again with the ball in his hands to launch the Mustangs forward once more. Driving kick right to the heart of the goal square. Mullet's there at the back, and he takes the mark and will go back and line up for goal number 4. And just has a little sneaky look as if he's thinking about just running around and kicking it straight away, but probably wiser head prevailing then for Aaron Mullet. He'll have a shot and take his time over it, but you'd expect him to nail this, no problems. Being a left footer, should pop it through easily, and that's exactly what he does. He's almost kicked it out of the ground here, and Aaron Mullet has goal number 4 of the afternoon, and he's kicked 4 of Mooroolbark's 6 goals. So in a game of footy that's produced just 9 goals for the afternoon, Aaron Mullet's kicked almost half of those, and Mooroolbark lead by 22 points on the Eastland scoreboard.
And he could be the difference between the two sides. When we sit down and have a look at what happens at the end of the game, it could very well be the fact that a forward has been able to kick 4 goals out of small totals could be the winning combination. So look, played it smart. It was just experience the way he was able to sag off his opponent. But it was a great kick in from Polkinghorne. You know, dangerous position, dangerous kick.
So the margin opening up now here for the Mustangs into the ruck as Dolan took it straight off the ruck after losing the tap. It's at ground level, and a swarm of players will guarantee that goes back to the umpire for another ball up. So 22 points the margin now in favour of Mooroolbark. In comes the tap. Deans couldn't win it. Bursting through there was Watkins. Kicked the pass out. It dribbles down to the outer edge of the centre square. Great run there from Kennedy. His kick in towards the half-forward line. Shedda Mulligattu couldn't take it cleanly. Good fist over the top there from Tim Lee, and pressure as well. And we'll have a boundary throw in here on the centre wing.
And I agree with you, Brad. I see, every time I see Tim Lee in the back half, I think there's a bloke who reads the ball well, I've never seen him really do that well up in the forward line. So, he's one of those players that you know what you're going to get in that back half.
Taylor Leggett not going anywhere. Good tackle there from Matty Pokinghorn. As we approach time on here in term number 3 out at Heights Reserve, EFL match of the day is Mooroolbark and Wantirna South here in Division 1. Players pile in, one of them there being Walker. Coming out with the footy there is Chapman. Oh, he got one right in the back there from Raab. And Raab is slow to get off Chapman. We've got to play it down here. I think it looks like Matty Pokinghorn is actually on the deck. Just maybe a little ginger. Here comes the kick now in towards the forward line. Went over the top of everybody, and that's going to go out of bounds and found for a boundary throw-in. As Deans takes a spell, and Barnard will go back into the ruck now here for Wantirna South. But assuming the rucking duties for the time being is Castricum in. As far as the Devils are concerned, contested ruck, no one really won it cleanly, and we'll have yet another ball up.
Well, Wanty South cannot afford in this last minute to allow Mooroolbark to score a goal in this area.
Barnard wins the tap this time, and ball just being locked in here by Mooroolbark and not really progressing anywhere.
Haven't scored this quarter yet.
No.
As we hit time on, Steve. No score, the Devils.
Yep. And off. Well, Thatcher just smashed Barnard right in the back there off the ruck, and no real protest there in terms of the free kick. And Barnard's going to have a free kick here about 5 metres out from his own goal. Switches the play now down the far side of the ground, and I don't think. Oh, Young did pretty well there to mark the footy. No, he's just outside the boundary, so it's going to be a free kick going the way here of the Mustangs, and I think we've got to get more. We've got to have down the field.
I think he may not have thrown
Cross
it back
down.
correctly.
It's got down to BWS.
Yeah, he placed the ball straight on the ground, got to throw it back to the player.
Okay, thanks for that clarification. Shedu Mulligeta going to take a free kick now for about 25-30 out, tight angle. Hasn't kicked one this year, Shedu Mulligeta, 9 games. Looking for his first, onto the right boot it goes. Well, that's the first for season 2019, and a good time to get it here for Mooroolbark as they extend their lead 7-6-48. They lead Wantirna South 3-20. We're into time on here on the Eastland scoreboard.
Yeah, that's the goal we just spoke about, that they can't afford to let happen, because we now have got a 40-point lead, and that's going to be they're changing
28-point lead.
28-point lead. The scoreboard's going all over the place at the moment. I'm trying to read. It was 28-point lead. It's going to be difficult to get back, having not scored this quarter. Wanty South
back in the middle, 28 points the margin the way of Mooroolbark, 7-6-48 to Wantirna South 3-2-20 as Michael Ashidu Mulligata kicks their last goal. Freeman there takes the mark, goes very short to Brent Walker. And Walker, he kicks, nudges it to the side, goes laterally to McIntyre. Sam McIntyre for Wantirna South. Wants something to kick to. Wright, though, read it well. Troy Wright belts it on the ball, belts the ball forward and over the boundary line, which is where we cross to now with Ben Warren-Smith.
Yeah, you talk about the scoreboard there and it going all over the place. This is set up by Wi-Fi. There's no hard line on that one. So a message to the government, NBN, get it up here at Mooroolbark. They need it.
Well, boundary throw-in right near that scoreboard. 28-point lead. Thatcher won the tap. Quick kick by Lang. High up and under kick by David Lang, and he's put it out on the forward. It just bounced inside the field of play for a throw-in. So it'll be Big Barnard to go up against Big Ben Dolan. Dolan, the former Lilydale ruckman. Barnard won the tap this time. Chrome almost threw it out that time. Strong tackle on Harris by Lang, and he was going nowhere. So, handy lead here for Mooroolbark. What do Wantirna South have in store? Can they produce something special in the dying minutes of this third quarter, heading into the last as Chapman has the ball? Chapman wants to come back into the corridor. Swings the kick to McManus. Sean McManus judged it nicely. Backpedals with the handball to Wright. Troy Wright sells a bit of candy and then boots it forward. Wright's kick to fall forward. No mark taken back there. Castricum, for the ever-reliable defender for the Devils, boots it out towards Leggett. And Leggett there palmed it in the direction of Ward, but couldn't quite find him. So it'll be a boundary throw-in. And now Wantirna South have not kicked a single score of any description to that end of the ground where they are now in a quarter and nearly 2 quarters of football of going to that end. They haven't hit the scoreboard at all. So,
and maybe it's because they've I know you get a defensive mindset about defending in this quarter, but they've not even made an attempt to really get the ball up there quickly and try and score, and that's been the disappointing factor for me.
As Lang's kick out of defence goes over the boundary line.
Only 1 goal to that end kicked all day, as a matter of fact. 1 goal, which in the second quarter for Mooroolbark.
So boundary throw-in, Dolan and Barnard to continue their duel. That evaded both of them. Breeze picking up quite considerably now as the kick go off the ground, picked up by Sutherland. His handball eventually finds Polkinghorn. He puts it onto the right boot in towards full forward. Mullet, the target. Oakley can't get to it either, and it goes over the boundary line for a boundary throw-in. So 25 minutes played here in this third term at Heights Reserve as Lincoln Wong goes back onto the ground. Probably Wantirna South's best player this afternoon, I would say. Would definitely feature among the votes. But it's been a bit few and far between, particularly in this last third quarter. As we're waiting for the ball to come back. You can see that breeze blowing pretty heavily across the ground. In it comes. Barnard tries to fist that one forward. It's smothered there off the ruck. Wong straight into it. Gets a hand pass out. Here to Lang, shakes one tackle, but then taken to ground. The ball spills free as no one can get clean purchase on it, and we're going to have a boundary throw-in.
Well, we have every single player in a quarter of the ground. Every player.
Yeah, no one forward of the centre square, no, for the centre bounce. So as here comes the boundary throw again. Barnard taken there by McManus, and he's tackled by Walker. So 7-6-48 leads 3-2-20. Here's the ball up. Barnard evades Lang. Well taken there by Crome. He tries to force it forward. It comes up towards centre wing. One-on-one contest. Deans, got one up high maybe, but shook the tackle off nonetheless. Did well to evade 3 Mooroolbark players and get a left foot kick in towards the half forward line. Got a purchase on it now here as Fergus Ward trying to pick it up off the deck. Gets tackled. Gets a hand pass away. Leggett might get to it before it crosses the boundary line, but he's escorted over as well. And we'll have a boundary throw in. There's 28 points to the margin. There's some tired players on both teams out there at the moment.
We'll see if they can sneak one here. This is their opportunity to get this much-needed score.
As Deans tries to win the tap, did well. Chapman dives in there. They meet solidly. Chapman's done well to break through that pack and get a kick out now. With Raab is unattended there inside the boundary line. Picks it up, just chips it up off the right. But it's going to go out of bounds on the full and have a boundary throw. Let's go to Dan Sensing in the score centre.
In Division 4 in the third term, Coldstream 8-5-53, leading East Burwood 6-7-43.
So Roth's kick there, intercepted by Lang for Wantirna South. You feel like the siren's going to go at any moment now.
He's got a 25, I think.
Yeah, 25-metre penalty goes the way of the Devils. And short pass is on to the pocket. Well played there by Kennedy. Did really well. Farmed it out nicely. Off and running now, the Mustangs through Hager. Hager's kick. And I think it was Hager who gave away that 25-metre penalty before. He was certainly protesting it pretty vigorously.
And again, there was a poor short pass, wasn't it? It was just had 2 men. He kicked the ball in the air into this breeze too. It's too easy for defenders to get to position and defend it easily.
Crome takes possession, shared it with Wong. Little handball back to Crome, who took the tackler on and then shared it once more with Lincoln Wong. High kick to Leggett, but the ball was close to that boundary line where it seems to have been all day, Dave. I can't believe how much of the play has been not just on the outer side, but right on that boundary, right on the fence there on the boundary side.
Yeah, it hasn't even been close to like the centre area.
Neither team's used the corridor much at all today, all day. And there's the kick forward by Polkinghorne. As Shedu Mulligeta takes the mark.
He's been good.
He has been really good. Real live wire. Goes short, nice pass. And he finds Geordie Roth on a long lead. So Roth will have a shot from right on his distance, you'd think.
This has been the kick that they've struggled with, this kick, this length.
So he's a left footer. Nice approach. Quite a nice looking kick off the boot, but he did start it to the left slightly and it never came back. So minor score. Mooroolbark lead by 29 points and we're almost up to the 30-minute mark of this third quarter.
So Walker to bring the footy back in here for Wantirna South. He kicks it off the right up towards the half-back line. It's all Mooroolbark there and a great mark. Dragged down there. I think that's Henry. Sorry, so it's right.
He's been excellent today.
As that going down here to Polkinghorne. He puts it now by hand instead. Thought about the kick. Great play there by Thatcher to shake a tackle. Here's down here to James McManus. He's kicking towards the forward line, but another little mark there for Sean Young. And that will do it here for term number 3 out here at Heights Reserve, Mooroolbark, where it is the Mustangs 7-7-49 leading Wantirna South by 29 points. 3-2-20 by Wantirna South. Didn't score in that term at all. And, well, that's been the case. So it's goal kickers for Mooroolbark, 4 to Aaron Mullett, 1 to Dolan and 1 to Dobie for Mooroolbark. And for Wantirna South, Damon Oakley with 2 and Fergus Ward with 1. We'll take a break here on SEN 1377 and we'll be back with the fourth quarter of action right after this.
SEN Footy streaming live and exclusively on the all-new SEN app.
The Cricket World Cup Finals.
Victory for England, they are world champions.
The State of Origin decider.
He scored the try. They have stolen New South Wales in one of the most remarkable finishes.
And every big footy moment.
Elliott gathers against the boundary, open the goal front up and snap it through.
You'll hear it live on SEN and the SEN app. For race gutters, Australian made, built to last. And On Deck Small Business Loans. Approved in hours. OnDeck.com.au.
Hello! Concrete Fusion is the very latest range of 2019 National Floor Tiles to take the market by storm. And National Tiles have gate-crashed the market on this all-new range of $40 floor tiles at an unbeatable $19.95. Yes, that's right, the all-new $40 Concrete Fusion National Floor Tiles at an introductory price of per metre. Available in-store now or shop online 24/7 at nationaltiles.com.au.
After a new Honda and looking for the number one deal? Then come to the number one selling dealer, Astoria Honda Brighton on the Pean Highway. Hi, Gordon Rose for the Astoria team, and we have big stocks of Honda cars looking to find a new home. What about yours? The Astoria Honda name has been around for over 50 years, stood the test of time, and we want to be your number one choice when buying a new Honda or quality pre-owned vehicle. We need good trade-ins. Astoria Honda Brighton, Melbourne's home of Honda. Who says bigger isn't better? LMCT 10901.
You can't get a Rolex for $100, and there's no way you'd get a brand new Ferrari for a couple of grand. We all know you get what you pay for. The same is true with pressure cleaners. Cheap foreign imports lack reliable muscle, but Spitwater pressure cleaners are strong, powerful, and built to last. So avoid the fakes and get a pressure cleaner that's Aussie made for tough Aussie conditions. Get a Spitwater. Call 1300 Spitwater or see spitwater.com.au. Spitwater. That's what it does.
The 2019 Toyota AFL season is really hotting up, so don't miss your exclusive Round 17 AFL record, featuring teams, stats and facts in your expanded matchday section. In this week's record, we celebrate Heath Shaw's rapidly approaching 300th game. Ashley Brown speaks to one of footy's quirky characters. And exclusive each week, how your team rates according to the stats. Don't forget to grab your AFL record this weekend, still just $5. Thanks to Karcher, the official 2019 partner of the AFL record.
Mate, you finally going to build that man cave out the back?
Yeah, sure am. Just on the Robot Building Supplies website now.
What do they sell?
Everything I need to build the best man cave a bloke ever hid from his family in. Steel wall sheeting, corrie sheeting, purlins, steel, insulation, Rio mesh, bolts and screws. I can order it on the website and get it all delivered.
Save time and money with Robot.
Notting Hill, Sunshine, Preston, Dramana, Pakenham, Coldstream and Darnham.
Call 1300-GO-ROBOT or order at robotbuildingsupplies.com.au.
ROBOT Robot Building Supplies.
Stock up on soup, pull out your woolly footy scarf and suspend your gym membership. Now you're all set to survive the chilly season. It's time to get the whole house prepped by hooking up your cooking, hot water and heat with natural gas. Getting gas in every room is easy, and with our rebates it's often free. So grab your hot chockey, settle into your cosy cocoon and love winter. Search Australian gas networks to find out how much you could save.
Impress clients, friends and colleagues with a premium experience at the MCG. Whether it's your own private suite or
30 seconds.
winning catering and premium beverages at Melbourne's biggest sporting events. mcg.org.au/premium.
All Day Socks by Underworks are the best socks you'll ever wear. They're seriously comfy and designed to stay up all day without digging in or leaving ugly red marks. Pick up a pair of All Day Socks by Underworks. They're so comfy, you'll chuck all your other socks out. Available at all leading retailers.
SEN Footy streaming live and exclusively.
Okay, here we go. Putting the mics on. And go.
And welcome back to EFL Game Day here on 1377 SEN+. We're at Heights Reserve, where Mooroolbark, after three-quarter time, lead Wantirna South 7-7, 49 to 3-2-20. Mooroolbark with a 29-point lead. Wantirna South did not register a score there in that third term. And Davo, your thoughts on this game coming into the fourth quarter?
Well, look, I think for Wantirna South to win, they've got to not allow Mooroolbark to put the ball over the far side and just trap it in that area, because we saw in that quarter it was basically impossible to get out of that space. So they've got to start using the middle. They've got to not go as wide as what they did when they came over this side of the ground towards the grandstand side, the clubroom side. So that's what they need. Let's
go down to car sales boundary right at BWS.
Yeah, so three-quarter time, we're back over at Mooroolbark. They've been leading all day, and I'm standing with the senior coach, Brett Labers. Mate, you're against the breeze in this final term. Like I heard you say, similar situation, low-scoring game against Upper Ferntree Gully last week, and you held a couple of goal breeze there. You've got a bit more of a gap here, so message down the line, kick it long, man up. Simple as that.
Yeah, I think it's back to basics into the breeze. Obviously, Wantirna South, credit to them that last quarter. They held us up and we couldn't score. So we've got to do something similar to them and play predictable footy and try and get the win that way.
Polky's doing sensational, mate, and Mullet up forward. These guys that have stood up for this club for such a long time, these are the players that you really need in these type of contests, especially going against the breeze, against a side who's hanging on for dear life at the season 2019.
It is your leaders that you focus on, isn't it? They're the ones who drive the standards out in the field, and both have been fantastic today. Let's hope they've got another quarter in them.
You guys are sitting at about 2 degrees up there, mate. How are you handling that?
It is very fresh up there. That's always got a jacket handy, that's for sure.
Good.
Yeah.
Good stuff. We'll speak to you after the game.
Thanks, BWS. They were the head coach, Brett Labers from Mooroolbark, and we might get some scores in just a moment from Dan Sensick in the EFL Score Centre. Dan.
In Premier Division at three-quarter time, we've got a thriller on our hands. Blackburn 8-9-57. Narrow leaders over Doncaster 8-7-55. Rowville 1-5-11 trailing Norwood 10-11-71. In Division 1, Doncaster East 10-7-67 leading Bayswater 6-9-45. And East Ringwood 10-5-65 leading Croydon 4-7-31. In Division 3, Chirnside Park and Ferntree Gully. Well, Ferntree Gully 1-34 leading Chirnside Park 16. And in Division 4, Surrey Park 18-11, 119 leading Croydon North Hemlock 2 straight 12.
Thanks, Dan. We're about to get set for action here in turn number 3. Here's Brad Henderson.
Thank you, Steve. And you know what, Wantirna South haven't kicked a goal in 5 of their last 6 quarters of football. So the last 3 quarters of last weekend and then 2 of the 3 quarters today, they haven't kicked a goal. So it's been a real goal drought for them in recent times. High kick by McManus. Nice mark taken by Ashedu Mulageta. He sends it forward. Polkinghorn, the target, took the mark. He set himself for that. Never looked like dropping it. and Castricum came in there to offer plenty of opposition, but Polkinghorne was up to the task, and then he goes short to Batten, and Billy Batten is back on, dishes off the handball. Batten, high kick by Polkinghorne, right to the goal line, it'll fall short, just drifted out towards the boundary then, and Young had that kick well scouted. And he has done that well today, Sean Young. He's been pretty good in defence, intercepting a number of forays forward. He's read the play well. Has been one of the Devils' best.
Well, that football started to go nearly 40 metres, ended up only going 30, but the breeze pulling it back.
Yeah, you saw the breeze really take effect that time. So Kennedy goes short. Nice pass to Polkinghorne, who just continues to find the footy, drives it forward to the pocket, and long lead offered there by Hagar. He wanted the free kick and wasn't going to receive it then, so it'll be a ball up.
That's one of the first times that we've seen the ball actually put out in front of one of the leading forwards.
Hagar takes possession. Wong, good strong tackle. Hagar almost threw it out then to Musa. Goes off the ground. Freeman in opposition. Did well then, Jackson Freeman. Takes possession and is immediately wrapped up in the tackle by Sutherland. So, ball up deep in the forward line here for Mooroolbark. And straight over the boundary line. It's also one of the few times, Dave, the ball's been on this side of the ground today.
Yeah, it's very unusual. And they cannot afford to allow Mooroolbark to score in this foray here.
Oh, well done. Polkinghorne, that was palmed down. He sharked the pack beautifully, and Matty Polkinghorne kicks the goal. It's his first of the day. He certainly deserved one, and that was great footy from the Mustangs.
It certainly was, and he's now had 5 quality possessions in the first, I don't know how many minutes, how long we've played for.
2.5 minutes.
2.5 minutes. Absolutely been sensational.
Let's go boundary side, thanks to car sales.
Well, our goal of the day goes to, is all thanks to Tobin Brothers. If you ever wanted to wake the dead, it was pretty quiet down there. The favourite son of Mooroolbark, he's one of the clubhouse contenders at the moment.
As 35-point lead now opens up here for the Mustangs. Thatcher wins the tap out of the ruck. Well done there by McManus to get the footy to Batten. His hand pass back to McManus, and Fitzgerald finally gets a kick out of the centre square. Good job there for the back from Freeman for Wantirna South. He ends up with a footy out of that contest. Just gives it the big don't argue there to Watkins. Hit kick finds Chapman in the wrong colours as far as he's concerned. And he takes the mark now here on centre wing for Mooroolbark. His kick now back in towards the half forward line as Castricum at the back couldn't take it. And it's gone out for a boundary throw-in.
Well, he must have kicked that when the breeze had stopped suddenly, because he's kicked that nearly 40 metres into the breeze. It was a really good kick into the breeze. Now they're dangerous on that half-forward flank again.
So in comes the boundary throw-in. Dolan v Barnard. Barnard wins the tap as Walker goes hunting for the footy. He gets a hand pass out now and a good tackle applied there. I think that was Watkins, and we'll have a ball up.
So they had an opportunity to come out towards the middle and take a risk. Went back to the negative side again, Wanty South.
Here's the kick up towards centre wing. Over the top came Deans, couldn't take it cleanly. Fitzgerald could, but boundary throw-in ensues.
And I know old habits can die hard, Davo, but when your season's on the line and you're 6 goals down, why would you do anything other than be attacking and throw caution to the wind and take risks? I don't understand that.
Yeah, I agree, 100%. And they've not even looked like it. I mean, they haven't had their hands on the footy much this quarter.
So Batten's left foot kick comes straight in towards the forward line. It evades all comers. It's picked up off the deck now here by Mooroolbark. They go by hand. Shedu Mulugeta got a hand pass away. He dives in for a second bite. His hand pass there intercepted. And that was up high on Dalen Carney. And he's won himself a free kick here for the Devils. Swings around and puts it onto the right boot now down the near side of the ground. Good mark taken there by Fergus Ward. One of Wantirna South's 2 goal kickers for this afternoon. His short pass finds Lockie Gregg. He puts it onto the right boot, high up and under kicks. Had to sit there, did Chrome, couldn't take it cleanly. Troy Wright's kick is astray to say the least, out of bounds on the full. And a free kick now here for the Devils.
So now they've got to try and work it inside somehow. Not go down the line here, because again, that's easy to defend.
So 35-point lead to Mooroolbark. Lang brings the ball back in, goes short and finds Walker. And Brent Walker switches to the outer side. Has a teammate loose.
That's very good defence from Mooroolbark here.
Yeah, they've forced them right back here pretty well to the last line of defence. So there's a high kick. It's a poor one, and creating the error then. That was good footy from the Mustangs. Hager takes the mark. Goes short. Dolan takes hold of the footy in the forward pocket and will go back and line up for his second goal of the day. It'll probably just a little bit far out still. Still a fair way from home. So Dolan sits it to the top of the square. Big fly. Young was in the box seat for Wantirna South. And a strong tackle applied there by Henry that time. So they're still cracking in Wantirna South as you'd expect, but they need to do something pretty special and take a huge risk here. Start taking risks and play on at all costs. Harris takes possession, feeds the handball back, gets it to Kennedy. Kennedy's kick around the corner, not his best effort, but he's generally been really good today, Shane Kennedy. That kick though was chopped off and the mark safely held.
So there's no run from behind, there's no outlet handball, there's kick and switch, but now they got to go.
Deans took the mark, plays on immediately. Handball back to Lang. Lang puts his body over it, does really well through heavy traffic, almost threw it out then to Raab. Jaden Raab's little kick wasn't all that convincing, but it did find Freeman. That's a better pass from Freeman, but Leggett, he missed it then on the rebound. Dolan kicks to the full forward, and the mark safely held in the goal square there by Kennedy. And Shane Kennedy's done some great work in defence. In fact, this is Sutherland, I should say. So Austin Sutherland, who spent a lot of time on the bench today, but he's bobbed up just at the right time, taken a mark, and if he kicks the goal, you would expect that will put paid to any chance for the Devils today. So Sutherland, easy as you like, makes no mistake, and stretches the lead out to 41 points, the biggest lead of the day, 8 minutes into the final quarter.
Yeah, well, look, they've kicked 2 goals into the Breeze this quarter, so, you know, you've got a situation where Wantirna South, look, I know they've got a goal scored against it, but they did the right thing by the kick through into the middle, because they were gone, they were free if the ball had hit the target. It just went in between 2 players and well picked up by the Mooroolbark player, and a good against the flow transition goal, but you've still got to continue to play like that, Wantirna South, if you're going to win.
Well, that was Austin Sutherland's first goal for the year, as Fitzgerald goes in now here for Mooroolbark, and that will be a ball up. So the margin now 41 points. Let's go to Dan Sensick in the score centre.
In Division 3, the Whitehorse Pioneers have hit back 4-15-39, leading the Waverley Blues 5-4-34. And in Division 4, Coldstream 8-5-53, leading East Burwood 7-5-47.
Oh, some very tight games coming up in all divisions, and they all have an impact on finals aspirations of teams.
As the ball taken now here by Blake Walker, his kick now dribbles into the forward line, but it dribbles over the boundary line and will have a boundary throw in. So 9-7-61 plays 3-2-20. Keep the scores coming in around the grounds at Footy EFL. As we'll bring you all the scores and results from 5 o'clock this afternoon from all 18 games being played across the Eastern Football League. Hope you're enjoying the coverage on 1377 SEN Plus and around the globe on EFL.org.au. Is that boundary throw-in going nowhere except into the arms of the field umpire?
Well, they really have to score from this position here, Wantirna South.
Thatcher wins the ruck. Just hand passes that one over the top. Walker gives pursuit.
Oh.
He's met up high there by Harris, but the ball comes back in. Well, I thought Deans was trying to mark that one instead of punch it, but it's one here now off the draw by Maxwell. And Mooroolbark come away with it through Fitzgerald. His kick goes on to the right boot. It's going to evade Lang. Well, did well to keep that in play, but he isn't kept in play by a tackle by Mullet, and will have a boundary throw in on dead centre wing, far side of the ground.
They've just been more willing to run and carry the football, I think, Mooroolbark, and that's been the difference in the two teams. And even into the breeze there, they're wanting to run and carry the football.
So in comes the boundary throw, and that was well short. It'll probably be taken again. It will be. The breeze has died down a little bit, but looks like it's picked up.
We'd be exhausted, that boundary umpire. He's been there all day. And
running into the wind and throwing into the wind. Oh, give him a raise. As this one evades both ruckman, but it's taken back off. Spinning out of trouble. There was Roth, his kick now in towards the forward line. Mullet, the target, is opposite number. Lang did the spoiling, and that ball's going to trickle over the boundary line for a boundary throw-in. 41-point lead to the Mustangs. Let's go down boundary side thanks to car sales.
Talk about how that side of the ground's been hugged all day, and the in that true centre wing position over there. Shout out to Mark Freeman. Good placement of the signage this week. Also great to see him out here. That means he's taking the signs down.
Let's hope he's not reversing the caravan this week. As this one tackle there, Lang gets wrapped up, and we'll have a ball up.
They've done very well, Mooroolbark, they've probably had more inside 50s this quarter than what Wantirna South have had, so they've worked really, really hard into the breeze.
Over the top comes Dolan, but Wong runs away with the footy, thought about a bounce, but puts it onto the right boot instead, in towards the centre square. One-on-one contest, had the front spot there, did Sean McManus, and he took a good mark here in the edge of the centre square, just plays on quickly, puts it onto the right, but it was chopped off in the end, and an opportunity potentially goes begging, but a kick comes back the other way. Going back with the flight now here, Mooroolbark. They get the ball back and put it right back to where it came from. The short pass is on, and a good mark taken there by Musa. He's protesting the play was over the mark, but he takes the footy nonetheless, puts it onto the right boot, in towards the forward line. Pack of players forms. It's taken off the draw there here by Deans, puts it onto the left. Wobbly old kick now in the direction of Chrome. Did well, I thought initially, but gets it back. Gives it by hand, and Wong now loses his footing and loses the footy, and the kick goes straight up and down, going in with courage. Great mark taken there by Wright, and looks like told to play on there. Great mark there taken by Toby Wright going back with the flight. There's that one kick was a little to be desired, straight into the waiting arms there of Jake Deans, and his kick switched across the ground now here to Noah Jackson.
Yeah, Jackson switches to that outer side now. Lang, this is the sort of run and carry you want to see from the Devils in this last quarter. Gregg's little handball got it back to Lang, but he put himself under pressure. It all came undone then at the end. Harris got it to McManus. James McManus sweeps out the handball. Up towards half-back now, the Devils come through Roth. Nice kick, and he hits Sutherland on the chest of the Austin variety. Hagar, can he judge it here? Paul Hagar keeps it in front of himself. Carney in opposition. Did well then, Carney. Fed it out to Raab. Raab's kick to the wing position. On the bounce, it pitches just in front of Kennedy. Nice kick. And he finds Sutherland, who's certainly bobbed up to be very handy in this last quarter. Austin Sutherland kicks forward. Henry there, sharked the pack, was tackled by Hagar. Polkinghorn gave a brilliant, don't argue. Handballs to Sutherland, gets the old 1-2 from him, back to Polkinghorn. Finds Eshedu Mulagata. Kick to full forward, and getting back there is Freeman, who judges it nicely. It was a difficult ball to mark, but Freeman was up to the task. Finds Walker on the break. Lockie Gregg, does the ball sit for him? Yes, it does. Gregg reels it in now. Sweeps the handball back to Anderson. Anderson shares it with Gregg once more, and Gregg's kick a pretty good one, although it just bypassed the pack and over the boundary line, and nothing in that really. So Kennedy sold it nicely, and he gets the free kick. But probably the best footy of the day, just about the last couple of minutes when the game's all over as a contest.
Yeah, look, and that's what they, as you said, that's what they needed to do. But I've noticed that their movement from the back 50 to the forward 50 was good, but once they get it anywhere near that forward 50, they don't seem to have a target to aim at, and they've been caught out time and time again. And that's probably when you've mentioned about the lack of goal scoring power in the last couple of weeks. It's really showed out today.
As Harris goes in for the footy, and he's met by several Wantirna South players. We'll have a ball up. Barnard and Thatcher. Had a pretty good rucking duel all afternoon. Met solidly there was Raab, and Harris applying the tackle. So 41 points the margin. 15 minutes played here in this final term as Barnard wins the ruck. It's loose there. Lang can't pick it up here for Wantirna South. Boundary throw in, and we've slowed down a little bit here in this last minute or so.
And again, this is where they've got to work hard to get it to the other side. They've got to get it to the centre side of this pack, Wanty South. Can't allow it just to be trapped on that side.
And looks like it's going nowhere. It's set back to the boundary umpire. So we might go to Dan Sensick in the score centre.
Yeah, in the final term, just crossed the 5-minute mark, and it's Templestowe 1 point over Mulgrave.
It's a seesawing battle all afternoon. Don't forget, we'll have all the scores and results after 5 o'clock this afternoon as you drive home from the various grounds around the Eastern Football League. And don't forget, tomorrow, EFL Sunday from 10 o'clock here on 1377 SEN+. As Leggett now gets the hand pass out. Good tackle there from Chapman. And yet another stoppage for about 5 or 6 in the last couple of minutes.
Their defensive work's been excellent this quarter, Mooroolbark.
It's taken right off the ruck now here by Lockie Sutherland. He turns the corner, puts the kick up, and Dolan drags in an uncontested mark.
He's come into the play the last half as well, Dolan.
He certainly has. His kick now up towards the Mullet direction. He couldn't drag it down. Wantirna South can, but Mullet, a great run down and chase, and he's won himself a free kick in the process as Dobie, well, going at it there with Leggett, and 25, another 25, and well, that's just salt into the wounds now of the Devils. And this will bring Mullet, will be interesting to see, probably outside scoring distance, I would think. But a little bit extra off the ball. Anyway, here comes the kick. He's given it a fair old shake. It might go through. No, just touched on the line and kept out. Polkinghorn tried to drag it in, but Wantirna South repel that one. Here comes the kick out of defence, but it's... Well, I thought that was actually going to go through all the way there to Ryan Maxwell, but it's pumped back in by Wright. He won the mark. It's a kick up towards Young. He couldn't take the mark. He's got Freeman in support. Oh, caught one up high as he got rid of it, and then he gets it out now here to Lang. Lang down the far side of the ground. Got to get around his opponent there in Hager. Gets a hand pass over the top. Freeman fends off the tackle there from Harris. His kick up towards centre wing. Couldn't drag it down there, could Wantirna South. Here's Jackson. Out now here to Wong. Nice long handball out now here to Chrome, and back now it finds the target in McIntyre. His kick now in towards the half-forward line, an uncontested mark of sorts there for Fergus Ward. We talked about one of only 2 goal scorers this afternoon for Wantirna South, the other obviously being Damon Oakley, who's got a pair. Now here's a long kick. It's going to be marked just before it crosses the goal line. Oh, it's actually crossed over. Well, there's a bit of dispute here between the goal umpire and field umpire because Kennedy took the mark. They're having a bit of a conversation.
Well, that was just really poor. Like they did well then to get that ball into the area. Just a really poor kick into the final kick by Wantirna South then.
So the one behind Award. Let's go quickly to Dan Sensick.
In Division 4, Coldstream lead East Burwood by 15 points, 62 plays 47, and Fair Park 19-19, 133, leading Nunawading 3-8-26.
Ball with Fitzgerald as Mooroolbark lead by 40 points, and Fitzgerald's kick is a shocker out of bounds on the full, straight over the fence. So the ball's retrieved, and it will be Leggett, who's had a pretty quiet afternoon. He's done a couple of nice things, but certainly not the sort of impact that Taylor Leggett's capable of exerting on a game. He goes short to Walker, Brent Walker.
I think they both they're in the same boat, aren't they? Both of them, can play quality football and have been kept out of it.
Walker poked it very short to Carney. Carney's kick to a massive pack of players, and a strong tackle there by Fitzgerald.
And again, I understand the Breeze will take the ball, but by this stage they should know where to kick the ball to allow for that Breeze, and they've kicked it down into this pocket again. And the ball is just too easy to defend in this pocket. They that ball from Carney needed to come out near centre half forward and put the defenders under real pressure.
100%. So boundary throw in. Barnard against Thatcher. Thatcher knocked it down. And you can almost hear a pin drop here at Heights Reserve. It is a very quiet atmosphere at the moment. This game's over as a contest, 40 points the margin. And the home fans will be satisfied with the win today, but they're certainly not making too much noise just at the moment.
They're probably all in at the luncheon where it sounded like that's where BWS was headed, because all we heard was music a couple of minutes ago.
So boundary throw in. Big bump by Polkinghorne, sat his opponent on the deck. Wong got it out to Walker. Quick kick, scrounged forward to the pocket. Wright sharked the pack nicely. Wright's kick's a good one and he finds Maxwell. So Ryan Maxwell swings it out to this broadcast side. Hager the target, a lot of holding on there, but no free kick paid. Hager to Ashiru Mulligata, who did really well, fed it back to Hager. Hager's kick's a good one. He finds Dolan in the middle. Dolan goes short and gets it to Billy Batten. Batten plays on, but he had his kick smothered then by Ward. Batten soccers it off the ground. Mullet swoops on the footy for goal number 5. He just managed to toe poke that one. Young paddled it out to his teammate in Henry. Henry's kick was smothered. Deans definitely looked like a throw, that one. It was a pretty sharp handball. No free kick paid though. And the mark safely taken by Grimer, I should say. Luke Grimer for Wantirna South. Carney gives it back to Grimer, and he was caught red-handed then, holding the ball. Free kick to Mooroolbark.
Let's go boundary side, thanks to car sales.
Well, there's a lot of action happening in the club rooms. It's all about Jesse's girl out here. Get around her.
I was going to say BWS boundary riding from the Mooroolbark Hotel.
Dobie with the short pass, and he finds Mullet. And Aaron Mullet, being a left footer, this will be a difficult angle for him. If he can kick it, it will be goal number 5 of the afternoon.
He's kicking it from outside, whether it's not sure if it's a true 40 or true 50 here.
Mullet's kick, right across the face of goal. They contest in the pocket. Harris takes possession, feeds it back, but it's intercepted by Ward. So Ward for Wantirna South gave it to Barnard, clearing kick towards the wing position. Mustangs win it back though, and it's in the hands of Jay Harris.
They've just worked harder, I think, Mooroolbark. If you look at it, they've around the contest with the football, they've just worked so much harder than Wantirna South. They've played smarter. I really like the young kid in Mooroolbark's team, Ashetu Mulligata. He's got some real class about him. He's got some poise. Been very impressive this last quarter, Mooroolbark.
So we got a free kick now here to Wantirna South, and it's like Carney's going to take it now, puts it onto the right. Goes now here to Jackson, dropped it but got it back in the end. He swings around and puts a right foot kick in towards centre half forward. Players converge, breaking through there is Wright, and he puts it onto his right boot and puts it out now here to centre wing, and an uncontested mark taken there by Harris, and Batten has the footy now for Mooroolbark. Centre wing area, just goes in short, finds Fitzgerald. His kick in towards the half forward line, and that was chopped off there brilliantly by Lang, and he sends it right back to where it came from and goes up to Lockie Gregg. And a bit too little too late as far as Wantirna South are concerned in terms of the transition play here through the centre of the ground as they stream players forward. It comes out now to Crome, almost took that one-handed, but he's got a couple of Mooroolbark players in pursuit. Deans fends off one but doesn't fend off the second. Well, it took a long time to get rid of it, and the umpire agrees, and free kick here going away the Mustangs, and looks like 25 maybe. Yes, it is.
For dissent shown by Deans. He's saying he got the handball away, which he did, but he'd had it for an eternity before that. So
at least a minute and a half there to make his decision. So free kick here to be taken there by Austin Sutherland. And his kick, well, he's shanked that one, well, hooked it really, and that's gone out of bounds after a bounce, and Dolan unable to keep it in. Let's go to the score centre with Dan Sensick.
East Ringwood has defeated Croydon 10-6, 66 to 4-12, 36.
That's a big result for the Roos.
And a big result for Wantirna South, because that now takes them off the bottom, I believe.
Yep, it does indeed, as that kick chopped off there by Fitzgerald. He puts this one back into the forward line. Unable to take it there was Hager. He tried to paddle that one forward. It, really just ended up in the arms of his teammate. And we'll have a ball up just inside the boundary line. 25 minutes played here in this fourth and final term at Heights Reserve. As Dean's into the ruck, lost that one. Jackson dragged to the deck. And there's the final siren. And it's all over. 25 minutes and change really played in this final term. It was indeed. Mooroolbark running out winners 9-7-61, defeating Wantirna South 3-3-21. Just the one behind since half-time for Wantirna South. Goal kickers this afternoon for Mooroolbark: Mullet with 4, Polkinghorn with 1, Dolan with 1, Sutherland with 1, and Dobie with 1. And for Wantirna South, a pair to Damon Oakley and 1 to Fergus Ward. Well, we'll keep the scores coming in from around the grounds at Footy EFL, but before we do that, Davo, Brad, pretty convincing win here to the Mooroolbark Footy Club.
Yeah, well, look, it came down to the fact that Wantirna South just were not able to score enough times. They weren't able to hit the scoreboard. They weren't able to play the areas that they wanted to play. Ultimately, they just didn't get their hands on the football enough and weren't able to transition the football into the right spaces enough times. Mooroolbark defensively very good. Had some key players on ball that were able to constantly push the ball forward, and then they also then had a forward who was able to kick more than the entire Wantirna South score. So, you know, when you have a look at it that way, it augurs well for Mooroolbark. It wasn't a pretty game. The ball was kept on one side the majority of the game, but I thought the last quarter showed exactly what Mooroolbark are made of, and I was super impressed by the way they worked the ball into the wind. Their use of the footy, as I said, they've got some nice kids coming through, and you know, they've now put their hand up to say that, you know, we want this 5th spot, and we're going to continue to work hard to see if we can get it. Wantirna South, well, round 16 is the round, I believe. It's now Wantirna South versus East Ringwood in round 16, and that could come down to a relegation battle, I would imagine.
Yeah, you're quite right. That round, Mooroolbark will take on Park Orchards, but East Ringwood will host them. As we just heard, East Ringwood knocking off Croydon, and that's a big result, as you said, for both clubs. Going forward in the next week, I mean, Wantirna South have Croydon next week, and Mooroolbark next week have Basie. So, I mean, Mooroolbark's charge for potentially that last spot it's going to be an interesting clash. Probably the game of the round in Division 1 next week. Yeah, look,
that's a huge ask for them. You know, Wantirna South will then be playing at Croydon. That's taken a nasty knock, even though it's not going to hurt their ladder position. That's certainly one they wouldn't have expected today. So they'll come out firing next week. Mooroolbark, yeah, huge challenge up against a Bayswater team that I'm not 100% sure on the scores, but I think they were fairly close to Doncaster East late in the quarter, but we'll see. But yeah, look, they're obviously very disappointed at the moment. Wantirna South, they just don't have the forward line threats that other clubs have at the moment, and just not able to kick scores that can win them games of footy.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at Wantirna South's schedule, they have Croydon, East Ringwood, then they have Park Orchards, and then to finish off the season they have Doncaster.
Heading in their rooms.
Well, we might take in the club song here for Mooroolbark. Let's cross down now to BWS. Fantastic stuff, great work BWS. We'll be speaking with some of the players as they make their way out. I'm sure the celebrations will continue this afternoon and this evening for Mooroolbark as we serve Steve Cochran addressing his players out here on Heights Reserve. And what do you think the message would be, Davo? Particularly, obviously, I'm not sure if they've heard the news that East Ringwood have won. In terms of this part of the season, we talked to him obviously before the show, and his prospects were sort of was a bit ambivalent because it was such a tight race for relegation down the bottom.
Yeah, look, he'd obviously be very disappointed, but he's got to remind them that, you know, they haven't relegated anyone yet, and there are 4 games left to play, and they've got to make sure that they get themselves up and challenge for next week. And it's no good thinking as defeaters. They've got work to do. They've got to get back on the track on Tuesday and Thursday night and work really hard. I'm not sure. I see the Luke Williams there stretching down with the boys. I'm not 100% sure. He looked fit enough to be able to run out and play a game of football. I'm not sure exactly when he's able to. If they can get him out on the park in the last couple of games, well, that'll certainly give them a boost. But yeah, look, they too many players down, not enough players around the contest that gave them enough drive. And the key thing, and I think Cockers would agree with this, they just didn't have anyone that was a target that was going to threaten the scoreboard. Whereas Mullet, when you think about it, he's kicked 4 goals, probably 4-1 or 4-2 he's kicked, but he's not like he's a 6'4" forward.
Yeah.
You know, he's a mid-range forward, but you know they give him space, they put the ball in the right areas, and he's smart enough to be able to then use the football. And Wantirna South, when you have a look at them, they kicked poorly into the breeze, so their forward just popped it up and it was easy to mark. And then when they kicked into their forward line with the breeze, they just kept hitting that pocket all the time, which made it just very, very difficult for them to score and easy for the opposition to defend.
Well, they're only multiple goal kicker today, Davo. Damon Oakley, who kicked 2, he spent 3 of the 4 quarters in the defence. When he went forward in that second term, kicked 2 goals, and I was a bit surprised to see him go back to the back line in the second half because he obviously was one guy who did have a little bit of an impact. But outside of that, yeah, they had nobody up forward for Wantirna South, and even just looking through their side, it's hard to actually see names of guys who, like if you were picking your forward line, who you're going to play in your forward line, there's not much to pick from there. And like guys like Tim Lee, who we mentioned earlier, Jackson Freeman, to me always look better in defence than they do in the forward line. So there's just not much there at the moment in terms of goal kicking power, and it's showing with the scores they've been kicking or not kicking in recent weeks.
Yeah, I suppose one of the things I thought they might have done, and I know it's not the game for it, but they changed their rucks off the bench, maybe throwing one of the bigs down in the forward line with the breeze particularly, get it down there quickly, because both their talls were competitive in the air. It's not like they dominated the rucks with marking, but they're tall enough to be competitive in the air, and what it does is it pushes the Mooroolbark defence back a little bit. They've got to put someone like Troy Wright's got to go deep in defence as a defensive option, not allowed to come up that 25 metres out, where I thought he was outstanding today with his ability to read the contest and then those intercept marks that he does, and he did it so well all day today. So maybe that's something that Wantirna South can do, but you're right. You look at them, where are their goals going to come from? Again, we talk about Walker being down there, maybe Brent's a goal kicking forward, a goal kicker that needs to go down there and stay down there. He played a lot across the half-back line today.
And Leggett too.
Yes.
Both of them on occasions in the past have been able to kick 4 or 5 goals in a game, and they've got that bit of brilliance. And to me, there was no brilliance in the Wantirna South team. No one looked like sparking them. And
No.
I'm not sure why they didn't sort of employ one of those guys maybe in the forward line. I know because they weren't getting that much of the ball, those two players, Leggett and Walker, they weren't having a big impact where they were, and also they weren't, they needed something up forward, and they could have used that. But anyway,
and you're right. I mean, it's you just need those moments, and they just didn't have any of those moments. They needed to have a situation where a guy was able to kick an unusual goal, a different sort of goal. Interesting here that the players are still all out on the ground for Wantirna South, and all of the coaching staff have gone in. They're now doing their player votes out here, so they're not even going inside to do their player votes. So maybe what they've done is that they've left the players while they're doing their stretches. Maybe the leadership group within the players are having a say about what they need to do and how they need to go about it, because it's unusual that this is the way they've gone about it, but
it is unusual.
It's something that it needs to be done. The players have got to take responsibility. The coaches feel like they can try and do things, but ultimately it comes down to the playing group and what they're willing to do and how they're willing to go about it. And they've got to buy in now to how to play this last 4 rounds and not look at just a maybe win.
Let's go down to Ben Warren Smith for car sales.
Well, we thought that last quarter was pretty quiet around the traps. The ladies' days going off in the rooms, but a very happy Mooroolbark Football Club going in to sing the song, and they're on a big march at the moment, and they've got a really well-structured team, and one of those players that plays their role week in, week out is James McManus, and I've got him standing here now, mate. The breeze is blowing an absolute gale, but you've been requested from international watchers from around the world. We know Scooter's actually overseas in Croatia, the old number 7, which he will say it's his number, but Brad Bird as well, who's watching from Singapore as well, mate, has put in a shout out to get you on board. And I just want to talk about the season. It started slowly, but now you've really played yourself into some really good form, you boys.
Yeah, obviously it's been noted that we started pretty average. I think we were winless after 6 rounds, so it was actually 9 rounds ago when we played these guys the first time that it started to click. We got away with the draw, but then from there we've started to build. I think it's 6 of the last 8, and the only 2 have lost are to Donny East, who we pushed, and then Croydon as well. So yeah, we feel like we're working in the right direction.
Can't tell you how many times I've been told by the Mooroolbark faithful today that Mooroolbark should have beaten Donny East a few weeks back, but you guys are really building into something special. The challenge that you were put to in that last term, and you had to do it again last week, up against it, and conditions-wise, that was a magnificent performance by you boys there, and you really stood to task there and actually outscored Wantirna South in that final term.
Yeah, slightly different conditions. Obviously, last week was wet, whereas today was windy. But we just wanted to if we didn't score, it didn't matter as long as they didn't score, because we had a 4-5 goal lead. So it was just long down the line to the boundary, because it's defendable, rather than try and do 45s into the middle and get opened up. So yeah, we're happy just to get a slog and to get repeat stoppages, pretty much.
A player that was put under a bit of pressure, not pressure, but like the challenge was out there a couple of times when I went and heard you boys at the huddle, was Benny Dolan, and he really stood up today, didn't he?
Yeah, he's been awesome. He came back about round 6. He's been overseas and didn't do a pre-season, so he's building. He's really valuable for us. In the past, more of a ruckman, but since that, he's been going quite well in the ruck. He's played his role down at centre half forward and just provided a target for us.
Brett Davidson's in the caravan, mate.
Yes, James, I thought defensively you were fantastic all over the ground during all 4 quarters, but I was really impressed with that last quarter. I thought your ability to actually run the ball and control the football when you knew that they were going to have to come back was excellent. Was that something that you got a feeling out in the ground that you were really starting to get on the top of them and run them into the ground?
Yeah, maybe a little bit. As I said just before, we didn't really plan it to go that way. It was more just to try not to let them score. Obviously against the breeze, we were just happy just to kind of get repeat stoppages and where we could to try and open them up if we had an option. But otherwise it was just really just try and get it long, get it to the boundary and defend it. And obviously we got those couple of goals early, which pushed it out to, I'm not sure about maybe 6 goals, and then it was just out to try and defend and keep that lead.
And again, I know he may not have had a lot of kicks, but just having someone like Mullet down in the forward line with his experience on a day like today where he was able to hit the scoreboard on a regular pattern, it's something that's really important for the club, isn't it? Just being able to have that experience up in the forward line.
Yeah, it's been great getting Az back. Obviously he played here back when he was younger. And yeah, it makes the defenders, I guess it's scary for a defender. Even if he's not marking it, he's got players kind of hanging off him, which I think some of his goals today came from free kicks because, they obviously just don't want him to get the footy. So if he's not marking it, he's getting a free kick, etc. And yeah, otherwise it's coming to the ground and the Crummers are doing their magic.
And I suppose lastly, we haven't been and seen a Mooroolbark game for a couple of years now, but we've missed out on when Matty had gone up bush. But since he's come back to the club, and today we just saw the old Matty Polkinghorne with his ability just to run for the entire 4 quarters. But not only that, the amount of I suppose, pressure he cops around the contest, his ability to continue to work hard is just extraordinary, isn't it?
Yeah, he's a bull. He's an absolute star. Gets head knocks every single contest, but he just keeps going, keeps plugging away. I don't know how many touches he had today. High 20s probably. Probably every touch is contested, but that's the way he loves it, in and under. And yeah, he's an absolute jet. He's been awesome all year for us.
That's all from us, boys.
Saw the Carlton dry slab arrive into the rooms. Does that mean we've got to play catch-up football with the ladies inside the rooms, mate?
Possibly. My wife isn't in here. She's at home with the little one, so I've got to take it easy. I'm old now, so I'm in my 30s, so I might have 1 or 2 and then get home to the wife and the little fella.
Fantastic stuff, mate. And you're a teacher at Whitefriars College as well. What do you teach down there?
Yeah, correct. A few different subjects: math, science, and some PE. So yeah, been there for a little while, and loving it.
Fantastic. I'm an old Friars boy. Is Chugga still down there, Pete Chaduli?
He is, yeah. Pete's still there. He's been there forever. So yeah, his sons are now a student there as well.
Very good, mate. And you've had a couple of weeks off. You're fresh. You played a really good game of football. We look forward to calling you guys in finals, because I'm going to call it now. Mooroolbark are finals bound. Have a great night, mate.
Thanks, Ben. Just 1 week at a time, mate.
Thanks, BWS. Thank you. BWS there with James McManus, and we might get some scores from Dan Sensick around the grounds with all the EFL results.
In Premier Division, Blackburn have narrowly defeated Doncaster 9-14-68 to 9-9-63. So this one ending in dramatic circumstances. The ball was deep inside the Sharks 50 when the final siren rang. So interesting result there. Norwood 13-13-91 have defeated Roval 3-10-28. In Division 1, Lilydale 13-9-87 defeating Upper Ferntree Gully 8-13-61. Doncaster East 13-11-89 getting over Bayswater 8-13-61. And of course we heard before about this result. East Ringwood 10-6-66 defeating Croydon 4-12-36. In Division 2, very close result out there at Mulgrave. It was Mulgrave 12-14-86 defeated by Templestowe 14-13-97. Just thought I'd tease that one. And in Division 4, it was Forest Hill versus Sylvan. Sylvan getting it done very easily over Forest Hill. 21-13, 139, defeating Forest Hill 10-8-68.
Thanks, Dan. Let's go down to BWS. I think he's with Matty Polkinghorne.
Well, can you hear me, guys?
Yep.
You got me? Yeah, so absolutely. We were the favourite son of the Mooroolbark Football Club. He left, he came back. Not prodigal son, favourite son. Matty Polkinghorne, mate, you're an absolute star. Evergreen, still silky, still slick. Great performance by the boys today. And in what was a really important win, you had to get on the board.
Yeah, it was a really important win, actually. Probably didn't capitalise. That third quarter really cost us. We didn't play to our structures. And with a good breeze behind us, I thought it was probably a 4 or 5 goal win. And to only kick 2 goals, I'm pretty sure, and to go in 5 goals up at 3/4 time, we knew we had our backs against the wall. But to the credit to the boys, our last quarter was probably outstanding. Everyone across the board, you can't fault them. The whole team effort, even all the young blokes stood up. It was bloody great. It was actually probably one of the better quarters we've played of footy for the whole year, actually.
Must be good walking back into Heights Reserve as well, back at Mozambique, where it's what you call home, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I love the joint. It's always been home. Obviously, I left for a couple of years. And I enjoyed it up there, played a bit of country footy, was great, but I was always going to come back home, and I love the joint, and hopefully I can keep playing for a bit longer and get some more success at the club. But with all the young, pretty inviting to try and stick around and watch them grow. It's only going to get better and better.
And a slowish sort of start to the year, but you've really become one of the informed sides of Division 1. What I've been really impressed about, when someone's doing a burnout in the background, your senior coach this year, Brett Lavers, and until today I hadn't met him, but we spent a bit of time texting each other. I was rating him from afar, and just listening to today a couple of times, and his willingness, the way that he speaks to you guys, and even he's willing to talk to us on the media. You guys must be really impressed with him, because he's sort of amalgamated this group from after that first month into a really good playing group.
Yeah, 100%. Brett, I think round 1 we had 14 new players from round 18 last year, so it was a massive change at the club. Brought in a couple of good recruits and a lot of young kids coming through 17s and the 19s. The first 4 or 5 weeks, it was tough. We weren't playing very good footy, and we knew how we wanted to play, and Brett was trying to implicate the game plan that he wanted, but it took a few weeks, and I think we had a draw against Wantirna South in the first half of the year. That really kick-started our season, and then we've only just grown and grown and grown, but Brett has been great. He's got the respect of everyone around the club. He speaks to everyone. He's such a likeable bloke, and he's hats off to him. He's been real good for this football club this year. Can't fault him, and even our assistant coaches, and then as a playing assistant, he's been sensational too, bringing a lot of experience, obviously from the highest level possible. It's real good. I know Brett's keen to stick around next year. We've got to get that sorted, and there's not a bad word said about him around the club, of sponsors, supporters, coaching staff, and all the players that have really got a lot of time for him, and it's paying off. Actually, it's real good.
Hint to Scott Demetrio, who's watching from afar. Sign him up, mate. He's doing fantastic. You heard it straight from Polky's mouth. Let's go to our own Brett, and Brett Davidson's in the caravan, mate.
Polky, fantastic game again today, mate. Just now that you're one of the old players of the group, you and there's a few other boys that have been around, James McManus and the boys. Some of these young guys, this Ashetu Mulugeta, I hope I said it correctly. How good is this kid going to be? I thought today his poise around the contest was excellent. Is he one of those boys that's come through that you're really looking forward to seeing what he can do?
Yeah, I don't know how to say his last name either, mate, so I got no idea if I can't correct you. But no, he has. He's been in and out, actually. He got injured, and even last year he was in and out. But the way he's been playing the last few weeks, he's played a couple of big roles for us, actually. He's played centre forward a couple of times when we've been down a big bloke just for his run and his presence, but it shows his poise, and he's pretty classy, he's fit, and the best thing about him, he wants to learn, so hopefully he can keep improving, but like the likes of Braden Dobie, Billy Batten today, they're just all those young kids, they're really stepping up and really embracing the senior footy, and I think that's how we've improved a lot in the last 6 weeks. It's not been our top 10 players, it's probably been our second class players. That's how we've turned our season around this year.
And we were just saying before, and James McManus pointed it out, Ben Dolan coming over to the club, missed a bit of pre-season. He seems to, in the last half today, he seemed to really get his mojo back, and it looked like he was getting back into the form that we know he can play. How important is he for you for the running for the next 5 games?
Yeah, he is probably one of the most important players in our team. When a few weeks ago, when we heard he's back from New Zealand, I was rubbing my hands together because we're down big blokes this year and we're really, really struggling. He's been real good since he's been back. His first half, he's been pretty good. But then he's been dying off in the third and fourth quarter just for fitness and not doing any pre-season. But showed today, I thought, his second half today was real good, and he's only going to get better and better. And he's the kind of bloke in the midfield, and then when he can go forward, we build our team around. He's very, very important.
And last one from me. Are you going to talk to the umpires about getting free kicks for hitting around the head? Because I reckon you take more belts to the head than the most boxers in a fight. So I reckon you need to have a chat to them, mate.
Yeah. To be honest, I don't say much to the umpires, or I don't say anything behind their backs. But the umpires today, they were absolutely ridiculous. They were shocking. Like, it was bullshit. Sorry.
Careful. You do seem to cop it a bit behind the play, mate, and we have called that out. But tell you what, all the features are still in place as well. You've almost got Benjamin Button disease. As you get older, you look younger, mate. And it's a big fundraising day for the footy club. The ladies stay in there. They might have passed the hat around for you to stroll on in there just in your shorts, mate. Would you put your hand up for that?
No, I reckon I might stay out of there, actually, to be honest, by the sound of it.
It looked like they've had a lot of fun. We've had a lot of fun coming back to Mooroolbark, watching you back in the green and gold jumper, mate. Finals bound, we've called it already. Mooroolbark, good stuff, and can't wait to see you guys play next time.
No worries. Thanks, mate. Thanks for the chat, boys.
Thank you to Matty Polkinghorn there with BWS. Got about 5 minutes left on the program, so we might get into the 3, 2 and 1 Eastland Player of the Day in the votes. I'll give you guys just a couple of seconds to get set. Might as well get into the Tobin Brothers goal of the day. I think Aaron Mullet's first would have to be a contender.
Yeah, I think it was really only the 2 goals, wasn't it? It was either Mullet's or Polkinghorn's in the last quarter, and probably Mullet's work along the boundary line to get that ball and then bring it around through the goal, set him alight to start off with. So I reckon that's definitely the goal of the day.
Okay, congratulations to Aaron Mullet. He's taken home the Tobin Brothers goal of the day. Now the Eastland Player of the Day. We might start with you, Brad. You're 3, 2 and 1.
Okay, thanks very much, Steve. Well, I went with, for one vote, I actually gave it to a man that Davo asked Matt Polkinghorne about then, which is Michael Shedu Mulageta. In a game where there wasn't a lot of moments of great sort of class, he did some really nice things, and he looked like he had a bit of special ability. So, he was very impressive. First time I've really seen him in the flesh play, so I was quite impressed with Shedu Mulageta's game. Kicked a goal as well. So I gave him 1 vote. I gave 2 votes to Troy Wright, who was terrific all day, really. Started well, he continued that on throughout the day, and he just reads the play so well. He always knows the right spots to go in. He takes so many intercept marks, and I gave him 2 votes. And it looks like we're going to have an interview with Aaron Mullett, so I'll come back to... Oh, okay, I'll continue. And I gave my 3 votes to the man that BWS just spoke to a few moments ago in Matty Polkinghorne. A mighty game by him, typical game by him. It wasn't one out of the box for him because he does it so often, but he was tremendous all afternoon, and I thought he was clearly the best man on the ground.
Well, we're down boundary side. Thanks, Brad, and a man who the spearhead for the Mooroolbark Football Club this year. And a day on a game like today, one of the players that was the difference, Aaron Mullett, made a good feeling going into those rooms there, knowing you've got another W, you've got that game clear, that breathing space. You're inside the top 5 and looking the goods.
Yeah, that's the main thing, mate. It's that breathing space. So, unfortunately, at the moment, every game's massive, and that's how we've dealt with it and gone in with that mentality, and it's served us pretty well.
What's the build-up been like over the last month of football or so? Because you played yourselves into some good form, and then all of a sudden, how long can the role continuously go? But I tell you what, in the last 2 months of football, you guys just seem like you're getting better and better. Challenge accepted, tick, move on to the next week. Yeah, there's just a lot of belief. Our game's built on pressure, and when we do that well, you see like today, they only scored that 1 goal, 1 point in the last quarter, and it was just based on pressure, and we just turned them... make sure they just kick it down the line into Troy Wright and blokes like that, and they just feed off it, and then we get it going the other way. So it's just built on pressure. To keep a side like Wantirna South, who were playing for their life this year, to keep them goalless for 3 quarters is absolutely brilliant. The forward pressure you guys put on in that last term against the Breeze, absolutely sensational. So must be really proud about all the guys that are working together as a team in that forward line. Yeah, well, look, we've got a lot of young kids, and at the start they sort of got a little bit lost because they wanted
BWS.
They wanted to get possessions and whatnot, but now they know what it takes to play senior footy. You might not get it 20, 30 times, but if you just lay pressure, tackles, it makes us a real good team. Fantastic stuff, mate. You got goal of the day. The Tobin Brothers goal of the day. We'll bring you your prize later. Get in there, get warm, have a beer, and we'll see you guys play real soon. Beautiful. Cheers, boys.
Thanks to Aaron Mullett there. Davo, your votes quickly?
Again, it happens every week. I go second and someone's looked over my chart to see what the votes were, but I agree 100% with the accurate one. That's why he's called the accurate one. Shedu Mulageta 1, excellent. Wright just marked everything, and Polkinghorne sensational, 3 votes.
Yep, and I'm going to go ditto as well, not to be to copy both of you, but I have in complete agreement. So congratulations to Matty Polkinghorne taking home the Eastland Player of the Day here this afternoon. We've got 30 seconds left. A big thank you to Brad Henderson for your work this afternoon.
Thanks very much, Steve. Great to see Mooroolbark playing some great footy again, and I enjoyed it very much today.
Thank you. And Brett Davison, great work from you as well.
Thank you very much. Yeah, enjoyed it. Watched a good game, and good to see Mooroolbark fighting for finals again.
BWS on the boundary line, thank you.
It was a big train. Toot, toot.
Thank you very much to everyone involved here this afternoon. I'm Steve White. We'll catch you, on the other side of this break for the EFL post-game show.
SEN Footy streaming.
And you're clear.
In-app.
Breakfast with Gary Lyon and Tim Watson.
I don't know if Chris Fagan's got a pipe up there, but he'd be smoking it if he has. Brisbane had an all-of-club meeting this week to brief every level of the organisation about finals. So that didn't happen?
It was more about, well, if it does happen, this is what it looks like, and you don't need to change anything. Just do what you do every other day that you come to work. That's what you need to do in finals.
For Melbourne Airport Valet, book 4 days online from $140. AbercrombieKent.com.au. Back Monday from 6.
just what's on in Melbourne. Everything when you visit South Bank by the iconic Yarra River.
The menu is amazing at the Breslin. Choose from share platters, ribs, beef, and the amazing whole animal feasts. For that European twist, meet friends at Teatro, Pizzeria, Bar Tapas. And to enjoy that finer dining experience, try the Waterfront Seafood Bar Grill. From the sea to the plate, the Waterfront is a Melbourne icon.
For more of what's on in Melbourne, go to waterfrontsouthgate.com.au.
Hello, Frank Walker from National Tiles. National Tiles now supply and install all their timber, hybrid and laminate flooring. Yes, National Tiles do it all for you. Measure, quote, supply and install all National Tiles timber, laminate and hybrid flooring. From just $1,300 fully installed for an average 26 square metre laminate living room floor, fully supplied.
Hello there.
Tiles.
The 2019 Toyota AFL season is really hotting up, so don't miss your exclusive